Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the opening bout of tonight's action here at Paul Ricard on Octane Online Racing. The Sprint Series is presented to you by Simrigs. I'm joined in the booth here with Breno Ellis, and we have Benny Hignett on the cameras. Breno, how are you doing?
I'm not too bad on this fine evening. A little bit toasty down here in SA, but other than that, pretty good. How about yourself?
Yeah, it's pretty toasty in Sydney as well today. I think it could be a bit toasty on the track. I know split yellow and green were pretty hot, so we'll have a look at that in a little minute. But I do want to say, rest in peace, the B team, the B stream, split blue. This is the finale for the time being. There is not going to be any more ACC split blue coming at you. It's going to be Le Mans Ultimate going into next season. So F's in the chat, everyone. It's been nice to be with you guys, but we're going to send it off with a bang, hopefully, as we're on board with Josh Holmes in the number 24 Bentley. He is a big contender to take out the title. This title race is still pretty hot. There's still a bit to play for. Um, who can you walk me through, Breno? Who's in it? Who's not? What has to happen for things to be shaken up?
Alrighty, so I've done a little bit of maths for split blue here. So currently, there's only 3 points separating Nathan Monks and Joshua Holmes for the outright championship at the moment. But we've got Eshan Lele, who's only about 40 points behind these guys. So who we've got on screen just here. So these three are the three that are competing for the win. I don't believe Cam Thistleway in fourth in the championship is going to be able to take the championship tonight, unfortunately. But still a solid effort from the Bentley man himself as we jump on board with him coming down the Mistral Straight. But yeah, so there's a chance that Lele could actually take out the championship tonight. It is somewhat unlikely. We need, well, he needs Holmes and Monks to both finish about 5th or 6th or thereabouts. Just enough that they're above their drop round, and he needs to come 1st or 2nd in the race. So it is possible. With the talent of these two top drivers in Holmes and Monks, it's probably a little bit unlikely. But as Blake said earlier, funnier things have happened.
Yeah, I think Port Card's a pretty interesting track to me personally. I think it invites some pretty good racing, and we've got two mandatory stops tonight. Tires only, fuel optional, and fuel not fixed, which I think goes hand in hand with it being not optional. So we'll see how it plays out. Two pit stops can make it a little bit interesting as we get a red flash of death as someone decides to take out those boards.
Yeah, so on board here, on board here with Monks, currently 6 tenths up. I think this is a false delta though, because his last wire lap was a 53.7, but it was invalid. So massively easy to do at Paul Ricard here. Basically every corner has some sort of track limit that it's so easy to invalidate at. But it immediately into the 53s, which is insane pace from these guys at the moment. I just see a 53.4 as the current provisional pole time, I think, by Holmes if Brad Cook wasn't able to jump him. They were very close. They were both in the 4s, which was the pole time, I believe, for faster than the pole time for split yellow at least last night, being a high 4. So these guys straight into it. We'll see what Monks can do. Monks very strong here at Paul Ricard. Took the win in our super sprint round, I believe, in season 18. He took the win, a commanding victory for him in that race. So definitely one to keep an eye out on, and going for the overall championship as well. And he decides to actually forfeit his lap. Maybe he's going to go back to the pits, put a new set of boots on, and go out. It is, as Blake said earlier as well, it is fairly hot, and I assume the temperature is pretty similar to what split yellow and green had last night. So I think in qualifying we're looking, yep, thank you, Ben. So we're looking at 27 ambient and 35 on the track, so a little bit hotter than what we've had for previous races this season. But the track here where the cars do like to four-wheel slide through the corners, long sweeping corners here at Paul Ricard, so very easy to four-wheel drift into them. As we jump aboard here with Lele, allegedly 2.7 seconds up, we'll see, so 53.9, very solid lap time as a banker. here at Paul Ricard. Anything in the 53s is fairly competitive. We'll see what more he has to offer as he pulls aside and puts a new fresh set of boots on, and goes out for the last 5 or so minutes of qualifying.
Yeah, I believe Lucas Keys described Nathan Monks as a Paul Ricard merchant. That I might be misattributing that quote. So we'll see if he can perform to the standard that's been set. If he wants to take out the title, he's going to have to. It's go big or go home tonight. It's the season finale. I do wonder if he pulled out a little bit, seeing a car like moving weirdly on the line and like they're kind of flailing. It always distracts me really bad personally. Like I can't shake because I'm like, oh, what are they about to do? So could be a little bit of that, or maybe he just decided that that was just not it and it was new tire time.
Yeah. As we jump on board here with Diabols, Ben Curtis in the 83 Mustang, definitely the machinery of choice here at Paul Ricard. The Mustang is a bit of a weapon here. So Monks and Curtis both in the optimum car here at Paul Ricard. As we jump back on board here with Holmes, who looks to be on an out lap. Delta's not really changing unless he's bang on even with his best lap at this point. Keep an eye on whether he can improve. In the last couple minutes of qualifying, he'll probably get probably 2 more laps in. Might even sneak 3. I think the final sector is just a bit longer than 25 seconds or so I reckon it'll just be the 2. But we'll see what he can do.
If he goes fast enough, he'll get 3.
If he, takes the little shortcut just before turn 1. You can cut straight into the Mistral straight. Very useful for practice when you don't feel like doing the first sector. So we jump back on board here with Monks. Again, I don't think this Delta is anything to go by just because it is a first lap and he hasn't put any valid time in just yet. So we'll see what he does when he comes across the line. Currently 19th out of 20 in the split. Great to see the numbers climbing up towards that 20 mark. As we see there in the bottom as well, Layla Bell unfortunately does have a qualifying ban, I believe, so that's why she is sitting in the pits. We'll see very quick driver is Layla Bell, so we'll see how she comes back through the field over a slightly longer race actually tonight, 75 minutes with those 2 mandatory pit stops for tyres as well.
Yeah, hopefully she can keep it pretty clean. She's proved she's very quick, but had a few unfortunate incidents, that's landed her with that quality ban.
Yeah, just a couple unfortunate ones, and obviously they do pile up over the length of the season. So just enough incidents to unfortunately give her a pretty big invoice, but definitely has the pace. So yeah, like I said, we'll see what she can do as we still on board here with Monks. Coming into one of the most awful corners on the track. So easy to lock up when you're coming in, go a little bit wide, not hit X too early, too late. As we come into the second to last corner here, a very, very long sweeping left-hander. You have to be so patient on the throttle here and into the final, the very, very tight right-handed hairpin of Virage du Pont is the official name of that one. As he comes across the line, it's going to be a 53.4, so less than a 10th off of Holmes' time, who's still unbeaten in this qualifying session at the moment, even unbeaten against himself. As I say that, gains a 10th through in that final sector as we jump on board with JC here. Wow, look at these top 4 all within a 10th at this point in time. So JC back for the last race at arguably one of the best or worst tracks. There's no in between here at Paul Ricard. You either love it or you hate it, as it looks like Holmes is going to actually lose all that time. He's going to be barely even with his Delta as he comes across the line. Yeah, he will get 1 more lap here to improve.
I feel like I suffered some kind of health issue seeing JC in a McLaren. I realized I wasn't here last week, so it was a very big shock. I was like, what is that? It looks good. It looks good. But yeah, interesting. Let's jump back on with Lele. I want to see what he's doing. Please. Also, beautiful livery in this car.
Yeah, Lele usually comes out with some banger liveries, and obviously the Aston always looks good, as he actually is done.
He's had enough.
Yeah.
Got camera shy.
Fair enough at Paul Ricard. If you couldn't tell, I'm not a massive fan of this circuit. So we go back on board with Monks here, who is a big fan of this circuit, actually. Loses a little bit through the sweeping right-hander. No, left-hander. But still just over 2 tenths up on his time. Let's see what we can do at the final corner. It's a bit of a delta thief here. You always feel as if it doesn't matter how you take it, you always lose a little bit of time. And as is true, he loses. Oh, it's only 200ths though, so he's done well to get a good X out of the final corner. That will be provisional pole with a 53.2, which is a very, very good lap time. And here comes JC, almost 5 tenths up.
Hold on.
He's lost a lot. It's going to be pole just.
Woo! Very nice, JC.
He's taken provisional pole with 1 lap still to go, actually, so there could be even more time on the board here. Monks in the first sector, just finding all the time at the moment. Another 2 tenths up, loses a little bit on the exit here. We'll see what we can do in the middle sector. Obviously, the Mustang, probably the strongest car in this sector here, just has immense top speed, and it just keeps on pulling and pulling and pulling. Big cut of the corner there to open it up as much as he can onto the straight. Basically, even with his delta, will be, yeah, flickering between up and not all the way until we get to signs. A very tricky corner to get right. You want to get the car in early, get on the power as early as you can, but the track limits there can be pretty harsh. You can go out fairly wide, but you have to be back inside the limits before those little tabs on the outside. So we'll see what he could do. Nicely, and actually goes down 2 gears. Oh no, sorry, no, the Mustang doesn't hit 6th. Comes down 1 gear into the double right here, which is actually called double right. If you translate the corner name from French. A little bit up, but loses the touch. He only needs 200ths here to take the provisional pole away from JC. He did lose a little bit through here on the previous lap, but unfortunately just matches his time of his best lap. We'll see what we can do the final corner. It was pretty nailed the previous lap, so I'm not expecting any miracles here, but it's absolutely nothing in it, fractions in it. He's actually a 10th up. It's gonna lose all the way to the line, unfortunately. I don't think he's going to improve on his time, but far out. That is a pretty tight quali.
Yeah, heartbreaking for Nathan Monks, not quite there, but I mean, he probably should be able to walk past JC on Mistral. We'll see how it goes, but
it'll be interesting. The McLaren is pretty strong. Obviously, the Mustang with a tow, like it's OP enough without one. So with the tow, but I think the McLaren will be able to hang with it. Maybe even get alongside once it gets back in the slipstream. So it's going to be a pretty interesting battle between these two. The Bentley, I think, actually tops out at about 278 or so, and it just hits a wall about 3/4 of the way down the straight. So if Joshua Holmes here in the Bentley in P3 loses the slipstream of the top two, I think we'll see him fall away. But then again, it is pretty strong in the third sector, so anything could happen. We got Brad Cook there in the 695 Honda. Very, very solid qualifying from himself as well. We'll see how the Honda fares. Obviously not known for its straight line speed, but I'll be pretty nimble in the final sector. And we got the 2 Astons here of Lele and Rondinella. Again, the Aston struggles a little bit on the straight, pretty good in the tow though. So as long as everybody keeps in the DRS train, we could see some pretty interesting racing into Sector 3.
Interesting. The Bentley only gets to 278. Even the Lamborghini does better than that, with little wing, mind you. But yeah, a couple of little fruit bowl liveries. Who's in that fruit bowl GTR? Is that Saxon Hayes potentially?
I'm not actually sure. Number 18 is usually Hislop, if I'm not mistaken. So there we go. We do have confirmation. So he's jumped on the fruit bowl, little mini team with Rondinella, and I believe Patrick Johnson in split red is also in the fruit bowl liveried Aston Martin.
Oh, we got Cricky in the British GTR.
Yep, I wonder if he'll go back to his beloved next season, or if he enjoyed the Bentley enough to give it another go next season. But I guess time will tell. Gorgeous livery.
Yeah.
I really do like the black, red, and white. It's so classic, but gorgeous.
Yeah.
And then we've got one of the Ricky Bobby cars. I don't think the Porsche's here, unfortunately, this week. I
Oh,
believe that is
that's the Ricky Bobby car. Okay.
yes. So I
I,
believe this is Ricky Bobby's livery in the movie, and then there was also a Porsche last week that had his co-driver, like his teammate's livery. I can't remember his name. Carl Norton Jr. maybe. So if someone in chat wants to tell me I'm dumb.
and
Interesting.
away we
What's
go for
happening here?
the formation lap. I don't know, Josh Holmes' little, well, just a bit messy right now. But David Marsh, the only AM driver in this split, cuts on the win in class, buddy.
Hey, it's not over yet. His internet could say no, or the hardware could say no, but
don't even talk to me after last night about the hardware
the
saying
server
no.
crash. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a bit of a stitch up, unfortunately, for Split Green. As yeah, we jump back on board.
I hate to say it, I've not seen. Is it Talladega Nights, I presume?
Yeah, yes, it is. It is a movie. There's definitely bits and pieces that are pretty humorous. But yes, I do recommend just watching it just to say that you've watched it.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'll put it on the list. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. There's a very classic Will Ferrell movie, so
Yeah.
if that's anything to go by.
Oh yeah. Will Ferrell. I mean, I don't know how much you have to get into a film discussion about Will Ferrell's filmography, but it's like it's stupid, but some of it's pretty funny, I would say.
Yeah, Elf is an absolute classic.
Oh really?
Absolute classic.
I
Really?
feel like Elf is like the worst one.
No. I would say I'm probably gonna get some not hate, but I'm definitely gonna not please some people with this opinion. But I don't know. I feel as if the Anchorman series is probably my least favorite of the Will Ferrell movies. I know that's probably gonna ruffle some feathers, but
I give a
Elf-
shout out to Step Brothers. I think ridiculous, but pretty good.
I feel as if I've heard of that one, but I don't think I've watched it.
Alright, enough Will Ferrell talk.
Yep, we filled up the formation lap.
Yeah.
With our movie discussion.
Yeah.
Now time to get underway here for the final split blue for the foreseeable future. Here at Paul Ricard, the French car park, as it's affectionately named. We found out last night there's actually 247 different layouts here at Paul Ricard, and they chose the worst one to make the circuit now. Anyway, they're coming up to the line here. We've got JC amongst locking out the front row with Holmes, our championship leader at the moment, just behind. We'll see how this race develops because there's a bit on the line for those two drivers. As we're going to have a bit of a delayed start. It looks like they're away. The Honda gets a good jump on the Mustang. It's going to be 3 wide almost, I think, into turn 1. This couldn't end really poorly. I don't want to jinx it though. JC has got a pretty good run. As what's happened now?
Bit of a touch maybe and just went straight across, but he looks
Possibly.
okay. Rejoined safely, but he's lost a lot there. That's rough.
So Holmes leads by a fair margin as well. Coming into the awful chicane technical twisty section of the track just before the Mistral straight. We'll see what the Mustang can do just behind, because like the Bentley has really good low and mid speed acceleration, but it does hit a brick wall about 3/4 of the way down the straight, whereas the Mustang continues to pull, especially with the slipstream as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Monks actually take back the lead coming into just before Signs, which is the right-hander at the end of the straight, as we jump on board here with Monks, and he is just, look at this. It's not even a competition.
Pack it up. Pack it up, Josh Holmes. I'm so sorry, mate. No, there's so much more race to come, but far out, that makes me sad as a Lamborghini enthusiast.
Yeah, it's a tough track. It's a tough life if you don't have a car that's good on the straights. Ask me how I know, as a Porsche driver. Especially the old Porsche where like it just got demolished at every straight. Like the Mistral, you might as well just like pull over and just let everybody through because it was that awful here. Like it was getting passed on the Imola straight, which is, you know, a third of the length of this one. But we'll see what Holmes can do in the final sector. The Bentley a lot more nimble than it seems, especially compared to the Mustang, and it's got that really good low torque. So like we can see here, the exit out of the slow corners is absolutely mega. As you see, Holmes actually sets the fastest up there, 59.5. Not really representative though, as they were on the start. And he actually drafts down the straight. He's going to look for something into turn one. Monks does give the space. Does he look for the cutback here? Because Monks is going to go a little bit deep just with a compromised line. Yes, he does. He's going to drive past again. And we get to do it all over again on lap 2 down the straight.
Well, really good, respectful racing from these two. We're still side by side. This is the 4th corner they're doing it, and we're going to have a go into the 5th. Looking pretty good, but Josh Norton just putting it in front. Let's see if he's not too deep. But Brad Cook looking to pick up the scraps here. Nathan Monk's getting a little bit wide. He should be able to walk past Brad Cook on the straight, but doesn't even need to. He slots right back into P2. And here we go, Mistral Part 2. Cook hanging on so far.
Oh, I thought there was a bit of netcode there, but it seemed like the Honda was gaining. Hang on a second.
Hang on.
Hang on. That's not supposed to happen.
Oh, this is a bit spicy.
Oh, a little bit of a fidget there for Cook coming through signs. As we see bollards are absolutely flying. The bollard space program coming up as Monks is pushed to the outside with Holmes taking the inside, and he's going to merge in front. So he's managed to defend successfully against the Mustang on the straight this time round. So that's quite interesting. As he goes a little bit deep, he will have the traction though on the outside, especially with the Bentley's low speed acceleration. So he holds on for another lap. This is going to get real spicy as this race develops. This is a lot more even than I was expecting.
Yeah, they're really blow for blow right now. Just sort of, they're kind of making each other commit small mistakes, and like they're just getting like closer and further away as that happens, as Brad Cook pulls out a little bit, showing himself in the mirrors of Nathan Monks, but nothing to do there just yet. But we're still very tight all the way down the grid, all the way down to 11th. There's less than a second between all of our races, so plenty of race still to go. As we see, who's that?
Chris Taylor, I believe. Yeah, just a little bit wide there, so maybe maybe had somebody on the inside just got it wrong. Who's that? Cook's got it wrong. He's had to probably outbroke himself a little bit and just went straight to avoid contact with the drivers ahead, so that's going to drop him back a little bit. And can I just mention that Ben Curtis actually has the fastest lap at this point in the race?
Oh,
that was interesting. Okay, I think we might need to go back a little bit further, but yeah, we've also got Friction Circle in the chat asking for a replay of JC's first corner, so it'd be interesting to see what happened there.
Good shout. Good shout.
As the Mustang pulls out to the outside once again, Holmes is going to get very good at defending, I reckon.
I think he's going to be defending that one pretty much every single time until Nathan Monks is either ahead of him or well behind him.
The pit stops, I think, are going to play like a critical role in the race. Obviously, two stops for tyres, so you can play a bit of the overcut-undercut game. The tyres do seem to go off a little bit here at Paul Ricard, especially with the temperatures. Currently 26 degrees ambient and 32 on the track, so a little bit hotter. Well, a little bit cooler than qualifying, but still a little bit hotter than we're used to. As we see, JC just brakes late. Cuts across the circuit. I'm actually curious if that's a track cut for him, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised here at Paul Ricard, but a bit of major stitch up. There we go, 54.2 from Josh Holmes. So
yeah, wonder if there was a real life influence or something to that one. Either in someone distracting him or something happening with hardware. But go ahead, sorry, Monks.
Oh, Monks' last lap was invalid, I saw. So 54.4 was the Honda's going to get through on their lane. Unfortunately, just goes a little bit deep. It's such a pain of a corner is T2. They decided, let's put a massive curve that pushes you off the track, and if you don't take it right, you're going to get like either invalid or you're going to lose 3/10.
Can you tell me a corner that you like at this track?
No. Oh, as we got a yellow flag at the back of the grid there. I didn't quite catch who that was. I think I saw 42. Yeah, it looks like it was David Marsh. So he's unfortunately dropped to the back of the field there. So maybe was helped around, or maybe just had a bit of a McLaren moment into one of the braking zones there. We might be able to get a replay of that at some stage. But yeah, Monks' last lap was invalid. So I hope that's not a track cut for him, because getting track cuts early on here is not what you want to be doing, especially if you're pushing for a win, like Monks is doing, both in the race and for the championship.
So another Bentley Mustang battle. Mike Crick on side by side with Froststruck. Oh!
Whoa! I hope that was just the angle that made that look a little bit worse for us, but that was we've been a bit of a Coke Brown moment for both of those drivers, I reckon. Coming through the fastest corner in the game, and then you just see like a McLaren perpendicular to the racing line in front of you. That we've raised the heart rate a little bit, I reckon.
Yeah, for sure. But it looks like everyone got around without too much issue. I would imagine that was just a on their own kind of moment. So this is David Marsh, I believe, like a lap ago.
Oh, just gets a
Oh,
bit of a tag from behind. Yeah. Also, I
it's
find it quite interesting that the blue lines of Paul Ricard actually show over the top of the car in the replay. I've always found that a bit
yeah,
fascinating.
that was interesting. Um, was that Tim Kung? Do you think the triple
I
seven?
believe so, yeah.
Yeah,
The bright purple Porsche. Yeah, so I reckon he'll be getting a bit of an invoice coming his way in due time once the stewards have a look at it, but I think that's pretty clear cut. As we go back on board here, so this is Mike Crick and Frustill coming through. Yeah, okay, it did look a little bit worse on the angle that we saw. That was
yeah,
well, wasn't as bad there, but still a bit of a fright, I reckon.
yeah. I think he saw that one developing, so there was time to get out of the way. But it looked terrifying on our perspective.
So here we go. So at the last timing line, Monks was just under 6 tenths. He's actually now 8 tenths behind Holmes. So he's slipped out of slipstream range. As we see, JC's made up a couple positions. So he dropped down to 6th, I believe, just ahead of Lele from his little mishap at turn 1. So he's all the way back, hounding the back of Thistlewake here for a podium. You know, he's obviously got the pace, and with over an hour to go, like, I would not count him out to maybe even get back up to where he qualified.
But he's still well within striking distance. And
Yeah,
there we go, Tim Kung. 15-second penalty for that love tap on David Marsh.
yeah, but I was going to say, so Monks has slipped out of that slipstream range, so it's going to be interesting here. So the Mustang's still very, very strong on the straight, but don't know what he's going to be able to do. 53.6 is a very, very solid lap time.
Yeah,
in
what's
this
that?
trim.
2/10 off his qualifying time, or a little bit more than that, but very, very quick.
Yeah, and the Bentley's pretty good on tyres, I've heard as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to go for a little bit of an overcut, possibly. I feel as if the undercut would be stronger here. Then again, like it's as JC gets a little bit loose there on the tight right-hander before the Mistral straight. We'll see what the McLaren can do against the Bentley here. The McLaren gets up to pretty much the same as the Mustang, albeit a little bit faster. So it does sort of drop off towards the end of the straight, but still definitely has the legs. Plus the slipstream of the Bentley, which will be pushing out a bunch of air out of the way, I reckon, with its footprint. We'll see what it could do. Don't think it's going to be this lap, but you can see he definitely gains a fair amount. It's so good. It's very stable, very quick through signs as well. As there was a little bit of a jink there from Convoy, maybe avoiding Thistleway to head his Kings right under that rear wing of the Bentley. Does not want to be stuck behind him any longer. He's going to look every opportunity to find a way past. If it's not on the straight, he's going to make the move. He's going to force the error, but Thistleway, not one to really make errors. Very consistent driver. If not having the outright pace, he's incredibly consistent, which leads to very good results.
Hold on, hold the phone. Why is Lele in 20th position?
He
15
decided to
seconds.
jump in the pits, I believe.
But he's got 2 still. Did he not pick correctly?
I think he forgot to do tires. Maybe he thought it was just a
No.
fuel, or he turned them off accidentally. That's a major stitch up. That's
it.
yeah. Unfortunately, that's the very slim chance he had of the championship. But it's definitely basically null and void now. So I guess we're going back on board with Holmes and Monks here, unfortunately. So Lele's going to have to settle for P, maybe even P4 actually in the championship,
Yeah.
depending on where he ends up or where Cam Thistleweight here ends up, because there's about a 75-point gap between the two at this point. So that's the difference between, say, P3 and I think maybe about P12. So with Lele being basically a pit stop down, which is near enough a minute here with tyres. It's going to be interesting if we see some Honda on Honda action, some teammate on teammate action here as well, down the Mistral straight. It's always interesting trying to overtake the same car as you are. I have a feeling Cook might be running slightly lower wing, especially keeping up with the Mustang earlier in the race, and actually clears his teammate before signs. So I think there might be a bit of a difference in wing setting there, or maybe Cook just got a really good run and plus the slipstream as well. So. But gets the move done up into P5. As Monks is really dropping off the back here of Holmes. That gap's almost up to a second and a half. Mustang does like to eat through its tyres, but even then it's only been not even 15 minutes. You think that the Mustang should be able to hold out for a 25-minute stint, which is near enough 12 laps or thereabouts here at Paul Ricard if you factor in the pit stop. So as we jump back on board here with Convoy hounding the back of that Bentley still. We'll see what he can do on the straight this lap round. Looks like he's a little bit closer than he was on the previous lap. Just has to keep it close in Sector 1 as Jensen in the 95 McLaren decides, actually, I don't feel like being in traffic anymore, and decides to jump in. Hopefully he can clear his mandatory, unlike Lele, but clean air is worth a fair amount here, I would imagine. There's a lot of corners where it's very, very difficult to follow and follow quickly as well. Signs at the top of the straight being one, not to mention basically the entirety of the third sector. It's just very easy to be affected by dirty air and just go a little bit wide or just get off-put by the different lines you can take. So here we are. Some nice shots of the cars coming onto the straight. We've got Rondinello with Curtis behind him. Curtis, I believe this is one of his favourite tracks here at Paul Ricard. So we'll see what he can do against the Aston. I've overtaken a couple Astons with the slipstream in the Porsche, so I have a feeling the Mustang's probably going to make short work of this, assuming it's within range. It's going to be pretty tight. They're going to be side by side through signs. Are they? I think Curtis might just be clear that Rondinello Sawyer just like backs out of this. He's going to try around the outside. Curtis does give him the space, compromises his run a little bit, and Rondinello looked like he was going to come ahead, but actually just has to brake a little bit earlier. He's going to maybe look for the switchback here on the double right, as we see Convoy is actually going to try and go around the outside of Thistleweight. It's going to be pretty tight. I think they're going to be side by side all the way to the final corner, and basically whoever has the inside into the final corner generally gets the move done. Unless they go deep, that is. Just for the nature of the corner, just tightening so much in XC, it's almost impossible to go around the outside. JC does look for a bit of the switchback, but unfortunately I don't think there's much you can do against the Bentley's acceleration. As we see Kenneth Thistleway just walks away down the pit straight.
Gonna be a little bit of a war of attrition between these two. It's just not quite happening for JC just yet. Looks like Curtis has held onto that spot ahead of Rondinello as well. A nice move there.
Yeah, 100%. Kept the inside, didn't allow for any switchback, which is a bit of a threat at both signs and the double right that follows. As JC's very, very close here to Thistleway and the Bentley. This might just be the lap, as that gap for the lead is actually open up to 1.7 seconds. So Nathan Monks losing out just a little bit more on that previous lap, another 3 or 4 tenths or thereabouts. As Convoy is about 4 tenths behind Thistleway coming onto the Mistral here. We'll see. Doesn't look like the McLaren's gaining a huge amount. It is gaining, but I don't think it's going to be enough again. It's
Oh, it's
Oh,
gaining
wow.
now.
There we go. So there we go. The Bentley's, yep, the Bentley's hit this brick wall where it tops out. And we'll see if JC around the outside. No, he actually has to tuck back in. So Thistlewhite goes a little bit deeper. Bombs himself into the corner. Does compromise his exit a little bit. So is JC, yeah, JC's going to go up the inside. They're going to be side by side again, I reckon. Or is the McLaren going to be able to clear him before the next corner? It's going to be tight. Yeah, okay, Cam Thistlewhite thinks better of it. Does back out a bit. JC does get a little bit scared and does go a touch deep, thinking Thistlewhite was going to send it, but he does manage to emerge on top. And I think that's the move as good as done. The Bentley's right there, though, right under the rear wing as we come into the final corner. Let's see what Thistlewhite can do. All of this fighting has actually let Brad Cook catch up, so he's actually joined the train. But JC does manage to emerge on top after a couple laps of heel and toe, no, toe to toe battling between the Bentley and the McLaren there.
And so Brad Cook making back up those spots that he lost after a bit of an excursion onto the stripy parts, the car park. We'll just point out as well Layla Bell's campaign to get back into the thick of it. She is P11 after starting P20. Hot on the back of Mike Crick as well, so that's a very, very solid effort considering it's been less than 20 minutes already.
Yeah, we'll be curious. I think Jensen was ahead, so it might be more like, well, oh, gets past Crick. There
Yeah.
so up into the provisional top 10 at this point. We'll see how the pit stops play out. As
these two
well,
side by side again.
Thistlewhite's not gonna die without knowing. Unfortunately, the Bentley just can't do anything for that last little bit of the straight, and in fact he's actually going to be under threat from the Honda behind as well. So
I think like these last two laps, you could really see what you're talking about with that Bentley hitting that brick wall, where it's gaining or it's right there with the McLaren right until the end of the straight, and it just does not have enough to get quite past it or to completely hold off JC. So he's going to have to do some work on the other parts of the track, I think, if he wants to get that done, or just have a significantly better exit through Roche de Saint-Bourg.
As we see Crick try showing the nose there on Frustock in the Mustang ahead, that was very, very tight. Has to get up all the way on the curb to avoid contact there, but does well to sort of slot himself in where the Mustang wasn't. As we got a bit of a train forming here. Everybody's getting twitches out the final corner. You get a twitch, you get a twitch, everybody gets a twitch. We'll see what the Bentley can do here into turn one. The Mustang has gone defensive, just seeing in the middle of the track, so Crick is really forced to the outside here with the run that he did get. Breaks a touch earlier. Is he going to look for the switchback here? The Mustang does go a touch deep. Does he get the exit on the curb? No, it does pretty well. Doesn't compromise his exit. In fact, Crick actually compromises his exit a little bit. Under threat now from Penfold, one of the R Penfolds in the Lamborghini variety of the Penfolds. But unfortunately can't make anything, can't capitalize on it into the tight right-hander. And obviously isn't going to be able to do a whole lot on the straight, unfortunately.
Here we go again with these two, the side-by-side. Will my theory play out? Oh, it's not quite side-by-side, but will JC... There we go. Has to pulls back in.
You know how frustrating that must be to be able to pull alongside. Wow, that was a jink and a half to the right. Far out.
Anything to avoid that track cut warning.
Oh, you know it. They do stack up pretty quickly, so to have as minimum as possible for as long as possible is obviously optimum here more than some other tracks. I did unfortunately get 2 in my first 2 laps last night, so that was not ideal. But I didn't get a single one for the rest of the race. So
yeah, when you get 2 on the first lap, I think you are being a little bit more careful.
Yeah. Oh, as Cam Thistlewhite gets up on the curb there, just ruins his exit. Is that Cook is gonna actually jump into the pits? Has decided I don't feel like being stuck behind these guys. He's gonna go for a bit of an undercut here. Probably about 4 minutes away from where I would expect a lot of drivers to come in at that 25-minute mark. So on board here with, it looks like his lap. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, wow. He almost had it. I think just touching the curb on the inside there was all it needed to just jump, grab the rear and spin it round.
Yeah, that GTR, that corner is pretty tricky. I've been having a bit of a whirl in it, and every single time that it wants to do a really, really, really big slide, so hitting that inside curb's definitely not going to help that feeling.
Yeah, but the one good thing about Paul Ricard is that you can spin, and it's pretty difficult to hit the wall at some places.
Most places.
I will say.
Ooh, is this on?
Oh,
Or is...
JC's internet strikes again.
Yeah.
There's something about the Paul Ricard straight, man, in netcode. It's absolutely ridiculous. I've had people like netcode, like alongside me, and then not alongside me, and then like fully alongside. So, yeah. But JC does emerge victorious once again down the straight. I think Thistlewaite's going to have to beat him on strategy here. I don't think he's going to be able to do it on track, unfortunately.
Bit of a jink, as you call it, to the right again from Thistlewaite. He's really sending it all through signs.
Yes, JC goes a touch wide there. Thistlewaite has to compromise his line a touch, but I think this battle is going to continue on until at least the first pit stop.
I think it's going to be the end of red, and these two are still going to be fighting each other. Or
As
not.
They both decide to jump into the pits.
Or so.
I reckon Convoy's seen Thistlewaite jump peel to the inside there. He's just saying, all right, well, I'm not going to let myself get undercut or overcut here. So he's decided to jump into the pits at the same time. We'll see. Obviously, there's no room for anything. It's just whoever gets the better pit stops. So I reckon these two will emerge about the same gap as what they came into the stop at. Both seem to nail the entry there. As we jump back on board here with Monks, currently in second place. Dropped off the back of Holmes. Actually, no, he's made a mistake. That gap was 2 seconds last time I saw it. Now down to 1.6 or thereabouts. So interesting. A bit of a mistake there from Holmes potentially.
Yeah, it's not quite over between these two just yet. But yeah, we are coming into that sort of first pit window at about 25 minutes if you're wanting to break it up evenly. As you see, that looks like about the gap that they had just before.
No. Oh, what's happened to Thistlewaite there? Did he immediately shift into second or something? That was a very, very slow peel off on the exit there. But yeah, that gap has opened up drastically. I don't think Thistlewaite's anywhere close to the slipstream anymore, unfortunately. So that's going to allow Convoy to sort of just run away at this point. Doesn't really have to worry about the Bentley just nagging him on the straight. Wasn't really a threat, I'm going to say, but yeah, just nagging him on the straight, just making him check the mirrors every now and then, and into sector 3. As we jump back on board here with Joshua Holmes, gap back up to 1.9. He decides to pit. Is Monks going to follow him in, or is Monks going to try and stay out? No, they follows him in. This is a interesting strategy. I think at this stage for Monks, being second by a little bit, you got to try something different. Like you've got enough of a gap behind, I reckon, to be able to try something. So maybe going for a lap or two overcut or something. Yeah, you just got to try something different, I think, in the position Monks is, because he doesn't have the pace to catch Holmes now that he's out of the slipstream. So I think he's going to have to beat him on strategy here.
What's the definition of insanity, Breno?
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's see how it works. I mean, see if Josh Holmes messes something up. He might not take tires or something. We've seen it happen. So watching along with these two, I think we also have Ronda and Ben Curtis in the pits too. Nathan Monks' drops.
Nah, it's about the same. Yeah. We'll see what the timing table thinks when it eventually updates. ACC, as we see a flurry in the pit stop there, that's basically a third of the grid as all decide to jump in. As we've got Aiden Squires in the chat saying there's no commentator sound. Hope that's hasn't been going on for too long.
I've just
Well,
been talking with nothing happening.
yeah.
Wait, someone's saying what though? Can we hear us? Oh, okay,
Okay, it's
interesting.
fixed.
We're back.
Maybe that's just a bit of a bug on our Squirrel's computer, but
Yeah.
looks like we're all good. Please, people in the chat, if there are any issues with sound or that sort of thing, please let us know. Because unfortunately we don't know. We just get to talk here, sit here talking, and we won't know if we're coming through or not. But that's good that it's it's good that everything's back to normal. Stephen in the chat saying, "Yeah, so peaceful." As Layla Bell jumps in for her first pit stop here, we'll see where that pops her out. Taylor and Wood both going for a bit of an overcut here. We'll see what Lewis does if he decides to jump in, or if he goes long as well. Is going to be he's about 15 seconds ahead of Holmes. As Rondinella's actually dropped back a little bit. He's actually dropped behind Jensen, so Jensen's undercut has actually worked. I believe Rondinella started ahead of both Curtis and Jensen, so we saw the overtake on track by Curtis on Rondinella, but I think Jensen's got him in the pits, but his tyres are going to be a little bit older, a little bit less fresh, as that is a massive drift for Loopty.
That's one way to warm the tires.
Yeah, certainly very effective.
That's giving me war flashbacks to my race last night. You were sort of like saying it earlier. It's just like so much like four-wheel sliding and stuff. It's just like, oh, I'm just killing the tires so much, and it doesn't help. I mean, it's obviously the literal challenge that they've designed, the admin making it pretty hot, but yeah, it's pain.
Yeah, as is the nature of Paul Ricard. Looks like Bell has come out ahead of Frustuk. If the timing table's finished updating. Does look like it. So currently P12 after almost all the pit stops are done. Actually, that will be P11, maybe even P10 actually, with Wood and Lewis still to serve their first mandatories. I think Taylor was ahead, so unless he has something drastic happen, I doubt he'll drop behind.
Yeah, that sounds correct.
So P10, and we're not even at the halfway mark of the race, is a pretty solid hit from Miss Bell, the 987 Porsche. See what she can do for the second half and a bit of this race.
I have a question. Ben Curtis's nickname. Could you say it for me?
I say Diabols, but I've also heard him say Diabolas, so I'm not 100% sure. If somebody could correct me.
Okay, because I've always read it as, like, I guess, like, the Greek mythical pronunciation, like Diabolis, but I don't think that's it at all.
Oh, it might be. I've never actually asked Mr. Curtis about the origins of his username.
Yeah, I feel like most people say Diabols, or, yeah, Diabols, so, but...
We could go into the constable. I mean, we could.
No, don't do that. It might be... It's a bit silly to potentially distract him. He's having a good race, so we'll ask him after.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, having a good race though. See, so where he comes out behind Brad Cook, it looks like it might be actually that 11 seconds, considering that's not updating just yet. Yeah, so, but good race for Ben.
Yeah, currently leading Pro-Am by net Pro-Am lead. These top three here, actually all three on screen, are your podium at the moment, battling for the win in Pro-Am class. As we see, Taylor does peel into the pits, so it goes a little bit longer, about 5 minutes, 6 minutes longer than splitting it directly evenly. So we'll see what he decides to do. Maybe he's just going to split the race 20-20 or thereabouts for the remaining 2 stints. Or maybe he's going to go, like to 15 minutes or maybe even 10 minutes and just go like absolutely crazy at the end. But I think it's better to make the most of each tyre set that you have to use.
Yeah, especially here, like it's very, very hard on it. But I applaud the zagging when everyone is zing. I'd always like to see an alternate strategy.
Yeah, and sometimes it does pay off. Usually when there's weather involved. Josh Holmes basically matches his qualifying time there, 153.4. That is that's insane pace. Monks, I think over 2 and a bit seconds behind. We'll see what happens when that the time and totem updates, because unfortunately Steve Lewis is in between the two at the moment, and they all jump into the pits. So Neil Wood and Steve Lewis, everybody's just following the car in front into the pits. It seems like just letting them make the decision for him.
Neil Wood and Steve Lewis, the two like team McLarens.
I'm not sure if they're teammates as such. I could be wrong. They do have very similar liveries, so could be.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
my. I was just going with their teammates because they look very similar.
Ah, there we go. So yeah, they're both the backwards amateur spin in the team name as well. So I think you might be onto something there, Blake.
Yeah, maybe.
Potentially. Well,
So
we'll have to do a bit more research.
yeah, Mike Crick, very, very close to Froststruck still. Looks like. Hold on. Oh, different battle. But yeah, there's Bentley and Mustang battles across the grid, but Nathan Monk's still just not quite there. It's sort of what we were talking about. It's like if you just follow Joshua Holmes into the pits, you're just kind of going to end up where you were behind Joshua Holmes.
Yeah, and basically whoever finishes ahead of the other will take the championship. I think um, the quali points I think will give 1 place to 1 point to Monks, I believe. Is he qualified? Yeah, so he qualified ahead. So the gap is currently only 2 points between them. So basically, whoever finishes ahead on track will take the championship.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say whoever finishes ahead is gonna win the race. I was like,
yeah, I mean, technically,
dude, I sure hope they do.
Pulling my bit of a almost slide there for Crick and the Bentley. That was interesting. It looked like almost like a compression lock.
Yeah.
The rears as he came down the gears. But yeah, I was just doing my best Will Buxton impression.
I have no idea who that is. Will Buxton.
Yeah. So basically, he's I think he's an F1 commentator, or yeah. And he does a lot of the Drive to Survive stuff, and then says the most obvious stuff ever, like, you want to qualify in P1 because that means you'll be starting ahead of the other 19 drivers. Like, whoever crosses the line first will win this race. Like, he says like the most obvious stuff ever, in the Drive to Survive series.
I see. Okay. No, I've never touched Drive to Survive, so we wouldn't have a clue.
Neither. I've just seen all the memes on the internet about it. I have heard mixed opinions about the latest Drive to Survive. I know they do well, I mean, obviously they're trying to create a bit of drama, so they do sensationalize things in bits and bobs, but apparently they take it to the next level by using clips from different races completely, and just I know there was one time, I'm pretty sure, that there's a clip of Danny Rick thumbs upping somebody or just waving to somebody, and they put a big pixelated sensor over it, and they made it seem as if he flipped somebody off. So they have absolutely no shame in sensationalizing it, but I guess it's to bring newcomers to the sport. So you sort of want to, I don't know, people like drama, so.
No, they definitely do. I mean, it's like an entertainment show at the end of the day. But Mike Crick and Froststruck, Crick just a little bit squirmy. Prime, we're only about halfway through the stint, so a little bit troubling for him. Don't know if he's going to be able to get this done, but Froststruck's not really getting away from him.
No, we'll see. I think it's whoever blinks first in this sort of battle here, who goes a little bit deep, who sort of misjudges their braking point first, because they're very evenly paced on or evenly matched on pace, is what I was trying to say. And obviously the Bentley can't really do a whole lot, especially against the Mustang down the straight. So jump back on board with Cook here, who's staring at the big rear end of Cam Thistlewaite's Bentley. He's gaining a fair amount on the Bentley down the straight. Like, this must be some like ridiculous low wing setup that the Honda's running here. Jinx out, just shows the mirrors into signs, trying to just force the error. Get Thistlewaite to just look at the wrong place at the wrong time, looking at the mirrors instead of the track ahead. So he can force the mistake and sneak on past. But he's definitely got the pace here. Just has to bide his time and wait for the opportunity and pounce on it.
So Murray Snow with the call that it's pronounced Holmes, which I don't think is true, unless your name is actually Murray Snow. Oh, Brad Cook is all up in his business. Cam Thistlewaite, you're on notice, mate.
Yeah, as I think we see the first drive-through for track limits of the night, so the Lamborghini variety R Penfold has unfortunately fallen victim.
There's always one, and at Paul Ricard, there's usually a few.
As Cook's got the overlap. Oh, it looked like he had the overlap. Oh, bit of an elbows out there. I don't think Thistlewaite really had anywhere to go, so maybe Cook just turned in a little bit early. Might be one for the stewards to look at, but I reckon these two will just keep racing. So,
yeah, I think that's play on. I think he came in a little bit hot, but nothing too unsavory happening there.
And still right in the slipstream, so we might see a move here into the next two right-handers, or three right-handers, should I say, with Science and then Bossett. I do have French heritage, so I should be able to say these names, but I definitely am butchering that real hard. As Cook gets the move done before Science. If we can next lap, Ben, are we able to just see what the Honda's getting up to, especially now that he doesn't have a toe? That would be quite interesting. Like, it has to be like, you know, I'm gonna say like 283 is my guess, 282, 283, something like that. The Honda's very strong in the suck, it seems.
Very strong in the suck.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I mean, it was getting sucked along down the straight. Like, there is a nice, I think, a low pressure zone behind the car. Just invite somebody in, you know.
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. Moving right on from that one. He's getting away from this late already. Brad Cook just having a field day at Paul Ricard.
Yeah, we'll see what Thistleway, if Thistleway has a response on the straight, but has to really keep in that slipstream range onto the straight.
Yeah, the slipstream range.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely. No other term that I could have used there.
No.
I really wanted to.
This is an M stream.
Yeah, so Squirrels agrees.
Yeah, I was gonna say Aiden's.
As Penfold jumps in to serve his drive-through, or their drive-through. As we'll see, here we are. So we're on board here. Time for After Dark.
We're not even at split red yet.
Yeah, I can't actually see the speedo.
Yeah, speedo.
Alright, time to get the stream up and go back like a couple seconds and pause the one frame that we had the top speed there on screen.
Come on, internet detectives.
Yeah. As that gap between the top two has actually opened up to over 3 seconds now, so Holmes has walked away another second, so another 50% on the gap that he had when they came into the pit stops. Here we go. Here's a replay. So 281.
I'm surprised. It looks faster than that, but I guess it had no slipstream.
Yeah.
This time.
281 is like pretty good in with like with no no slipstream, and obviously it looks like it's very strong. Is that a little bit of contact there between Crick and Hislop? It did look like it, but Crick managed to just pull it up. So Hislop didn't spin or anything, so I reckon that'll probably be play on. I can't imagine Hislop will have any issues with that. I think that's just a bit of hard racing, but we'll see. In the meantime, oh, hang on. What's happened here? Yeah, Frustook is ahead of both of these, but not on the...
Your Crick's behind both of them. What's happening?
Yeah.
There we go. So something's
happened there.
Well, Crick was behind Frustook, so Hislop's gotten ahead of Crick. It just took a while for that to update.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't remember a GTR being between the Bentley and the Mustang, so...
No, just inserted himself in the conversation. He said, Mike Crick, if you can't get past Frustook, let me have a go.
And we'll see, the GTR is an absolute weapon on the straight. We'll see what it could do against a fairly evenly matched Mustang, I'd imagine, but it does have the slipstream and a pretty poor exit, unfortunately, off of Saint Balm.
You're missing like half of the corner name, Virage de la Saint Balm. But yeah, I think just scuppered a little bit there by the Mustang, so probably not going to be contending too much right now. But GTR is good for about 284, at least in my setup that I was using. But yeah, that rear does want to come around. Pretty deep through double joint debuso.
Yeah, so we'll see if he can get a little bit of a better exit out of the corner leading onto the straight on the next lap, because I think I saw the GTR hitting like 290 with only a small slipstream last night when I was going through the replay, so I think that was the GTR of... Oh no, I put myself on the spot here.
290 is massive.
Yeah, I think it hits about 286 without the slipstream, but that could have been that person's setup as well.
Yeah.
So maybe slightly a little bit sketchier to be an absolute weapon on the straight. So sacrificing sector 1 and sector 3 a little.
Yeah. You'd be
power
running
on the straight.
Very, very low wing. Oh, I love a good curbside camera.
Can't go wrong. Yeah, Aiden in the chat saying weaving. So I think that was a little bit naughty from Frustook. He did make 2 moves on the straight, came across to the left, and then came across to the right to sort of break the slipstream, it seems. So we'll see what he does here. He's sort of made his move a little bit. He's committed to the inside here. So yeah, oh my goodness, look at the GTR. That's hilarious. It's almost going to clear it before signs as well. Or are they going to go too wide? Nah, he's cleared him. That is incredible.
That's big. That's Godzilla stuff.
Yeah, that is what was that, like 1200 horsepower one that did the combined sedans at Bathurst?
Oh yeah.
A couple of years ago. That was hilarious. It gains 3 seconds on Mountain Straight.
So Hislop's cleared both of these two. They have been fighting the whole time, and he's just had a bit of a field day. Not a bad effort at all, but nearly 3.5 behind Neil Wood.
Yeah, we'll see what inroads he can make into that. Potential P10 on the cards here for Hislop. Currently sitting P5 in class. Let's see Neil Wood, the next car ahead, also in class. So jump back up on board here with Lele, who's just coming up on this battle here of Crick and Frustook. Aston, not the strongest car on the straight, but Lele, a very talented driver. So we'll see what he can do. Easier at Paul Ricard, I reckon, to put up a fight if you're a little bit slower than other tracks. But yeah, we'll see what Lele can do. up to 15th after his extra pit stop, so that's a pretty fair effort from the Aston Martin driver with about just under half an hour to go. Looking back at the front as well, Holmes and Monks, 3.9 seconds now the gap. Convoy not really making any inroads either, still 3.6 or thereabouts. About 3 and a bit seconds between all the top 4 at the moment. There's a big gap back to Taylor. Unfortunately, that overcut for him doesn't seem to be paying off. 9.8 behind Thistleweight, and only 1.3 ahead of Curtis. So that's, you know, like a mistake in a bit, and Curtis is right in that slipstream range. That's a pretty easy pass for the Mustang and the Honda, I would imagine. As Crick gets a little bit sideways there and compromises his exit, is Lele going to look for something? He does pull out to the inside and gets him under braking.
Yeah, easy done. Just Crick getting a little bit deep there, and Lele pulling it up, putting the anchors down, getting down the inside, and it's already put a little bit of a gap on him through like one corner. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's a very tough corner to defend, because if you go narrow, you compromise your exit, and then they get the up and under on you. But if you just take your normal line, it does leave the door wide open for a bit of a, I won't say send, but just like enough to break a little bit later, and so just get your nose alongside. So they deserve some space. But yeah, we'll see what we can do against the Mustang here. Crick just decides, actually, I'm going to get my second pit stop out the way. So we'll see what that little bit of an undercut does, as Frustock does go wide. Is Lele going to be able to do much? No, he parks it perfectly on the apex there. I don't know if that was an intentional or not. I think it just sort of happened that way. Lele was just a little bit too close to get the proper up and under there. But Frustock does hold on for another sector. We'll see what happens on the right here. But yeah, with that undercut of Crick, we'll see how he comes out in relation to these guys, and maybe even Hislop, and maybe even Wood, depending on how those guys' pit stop goes.
Yeah, the point I was just going to make was that we are coming into the next pit window, so we should see some people coming in relatively soon. The only people, I think Chris Taylor was the one that ran quite long, so I can't imagine he'll be in within the next couple of minutes. But Lele, I think the move might be on here. He moves to the outside for signs, but potentially the better racing line. But
that's going to be one for the stewards, I reckon. Lele takes the IndyCar line there.
That was something. That was almost an all-time poor rejoin. But yeah, if we're gonna see it, so it's a bit of a tap, and luckily there's no ACC physics happening. Lele just kind of gets sent to the Shadow Realm off the track, which luckily you can run off very, very wide. But yeah, this is the thing that they warned us about, just coming on like full power. I mean, I don't know, you know, whack me on the hand if you will, but that could potentially be a penalty for dangerous driving anyway. That was pretty crazy to come back on at that speed.
But potentially, we'll see what the stewards reckon with that one. But looking at the initial incident, it did look like Frustock did go a little bit wide at signs. So it looks like he did hand the position to Lele. I thought I saw him pull over and that final sector there. Yeah, but we'll see what the stewards say about that one. Yeah, I won't comment any further.
Yeah, I'm not even saying that they should, but it was incredibly nerve-wracking to see him come back on the track that quickly. At that speed per se.
I would lean more towards probably, like, he was in complete control of the car, so that's probably something for the stewards to consider in their investigation, as Holmes is on the inside of the white line, on the inside of the corner. So that means he is going to decide to pit, and Monks is going to follow him once again. I did see JC came in about a lap earlier, so possibly a bit of an undercut there. Brad Cook follows them in as well. So Thistleweight is going to go for the overcut though. Finally, somebody doing something a little bit different. I was going to say it's just going to be a little conga line into the pits. Everybody resumes position after they exit the pit lane, but we'll see.
Hey, Bruno, what's the definition of insanity?
doing the
Just
same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Nathan Monk's just following him straight in there. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he has the pace. He's been very, very good. Don't get me wrong, but following Josh Holmes straight into the pits, there's nothing happening with that. But I mean, P2 in the championship, you take that home and you put that on the shelf.
Yeah, and a promotion, I reckon, to the white badge. I see in Nathan Monk's future, but
Oh, for sure.
yeah, maybe he's more worried about JC behind now than trying to go for the win. But
Yeah.
at that stage, like, it can't hurt to try something different. Like, even if you know it's probably not going to work, like, you never know. So yeah, but that does mean that Camp Thistleway is going to lead a lap of this race, and genuinely might actually get a bit of an overcut. It depends on how secondhand those tires are using, but the tires, like, I don't know, it's hard to tell whether worn tires are faster here than cold tires, because both obviously have a big disadvantage, and especially through long sweeping corners, it's very easy to kick the rear out or four-wheel slide with both sets. So we'll see if Thistleweight comes in this lap, or if he does peel to the right-hand side and jumps into the pits. So he did lead his one lap of the race. We'll see where this pops him out. I'm not sure exactly who he was fighting. I think he lost the position to Cook, and I think he was a fair way ahead of Rondinella. Sorry, should I say?
Yeah. So interestingly, I feel like I blinked and most of the field has done their pit stop. Their final pit stop.
Yeah, it's in about half the field. So it looks like Rondinella's actually going for a bit of an undercut as well. So Jensen and Curtis still out. I hope that timing sheet is not correct. Jensen being 16 seconds behind Curtis. That would have been my big thing, as we see another flurry into the pits here. Lele, Wood, Thistleway. Thistleway's still in. So Wood and Lele decide to pit this lap. As what's going on here? So it looks like Lewis is not blue flag, but is moving out the way for the quick guys. So Brad Cook's right on the rear here of Jamie Conboy. I think this is for P3 in the race. He's just going to sit in the mirrors there, doesn't look for a move, but just sort of just sits there just to unnerve JC into the first turn. Doesn't really force the error that he was hoping, but we'll see what the Honda can do on the straight here. Like I've said, the McLaren is very, very strong on the straight, especially without the slipstream. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what the Honda can do. He just really needs to keep with JC, and he might be able to make something happen into the final sector.
So I've just been fed an interesting stat, if you will. Jam-wise, Joshua Holmes, as I've been corrected, has 50 hours. Actually, is this nice to tell people? I mean, I guess if you're friends with them, you can see it. 50 hours on ACC this week in preparation for this race, I presume. I mean, I'm sure they're doing other things. And Nathan Monk's with 42. So these guys are putting in the absolute work to close out the season. That is impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it all came down to the absolute wire in the final race of the season, with like bugger all between them. So obviously you wanted to put on your best display of performance. As we see, somebody teleports back to the pits there, it looks like. So maybe some Kunos things, or some of these internets not playing ball. Hopefully that doesn't mean much. But yeah, Jensen 16.5 seconds behind Curtis, so I think something's happened there, because he was no more than 2, maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes ago, when we were jumping on board with their battle. We'll be interested to see when Danella comes out in relation to Curtis. They've both cleared their pit stop.
They cleared it like just one after another, though, so I want to see where they come out.
Yeah, I think that might be ACC just being a bit odd. Layla Bell clears her pit stop as well, so we'll see where she comes out for this final this final stint. Should be pretty close to the top 10, if not in it. Rondinella was ahead. So 95's come out ahead. No, 95's a while back on track. So that's 17, and I think that's 83 behind. I just can't tell on the track map, but I think I saw a 3 peeping through. So yep, there we go. So 83. So yeah, these two. So Rondinella and Curtis going for the Pro-Am victory here. It's going to be a fight to the death in these last 18 minutes as we go back on board for the fight for the overall podium between Cook and JC. JC, his first round back after an unfortunate incident where he fractured his arm and obviously wasn't able to drive. So a pretty stellar performance from himself to come back so quickly. And you know, like a podium, a provisional podium at this point in time. In one of his favourite cars as well, being the McLaren.
He loves that McLaren.
Tracks. One of his favourite tracks as well, I think I saw.
TS in chat correcting my Josh Holmes pronunciation. It's just a bit of a joke because Murray Snow was joking that you pronounce it Holmes. So I am aware, just having a bit of a riff-raff, if you will. Rondinella, very, very close to Curtis, though.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting fight. So obviously Curtis has slightly better tyres, which could honestly make the difference here on those final 3 laps. Rondinella probably pitted 4, maybe even 5 laps ago, trying to get a bit of an undercut on Curtis, but unfortunately hasn't paid off for him, so he comes out behind, but albeit very close behind. But Ben Curtis's tyres are pretty close to optimum, I would imagine, now, doing a lap and a bit after the pit stop. So, big slide from Rondinella there as we come onto the Mistral. And another little twitch there. So maybe those tyres have gone off ever so slightly already. We'll monitor this fight because I reckon this one will go down to the wire. 16 minutes to go. We're just over in this race. Gap from Holmes to Monks is 4 seconds. And JC 10 seconds behind. So wow, lost a fair amount. I'm not sure if that was in the pit stop or with that with Steve Lewis ahead, as we saw just the end of the final corner just earlier. But yeah, Cook at the last time in table, only 2/10 behind Convoy. As they're coming into the final sector here. This is where the Honda would shine, but McLaren is very, very good through the mid-speed corners, which Sector 3 has a bunch of, so it's going to be a pretty even match, I reckon, between these two. I think it's, again, just whoever blinks first, or just leaves the door open just a touch, invites the other driver in.
I didn't know the Honda shined anywhere.
In the wet it does, when it has a bit of negative bop.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, the Honda's a pretty handy car. Obviously likes the twisty tracks a little bit better than your power tracks, but yeah. I mean, as proved in the Bathurst 12 hours, pretty good at Bathurst there as well, taking the provisional pole on the classification server, and I think they qualified on pole as well. Yeah, I believe they qualified on pole in the top 10 shootout as well, or was it the GTR? One of the two. Anywho.
Yeah, it's foregone from my memory, but
it was both.
It was both.
It did get Honda. It did get pole in the shootout as well. As Cook pulls out of the slipstream now, he is going to have the inside here for Signs, but going a little bit wider, JC goes for the cutback.
Sets himself up for the inside of the very, very long right-hander. That left my head scratching, but that was a move and a half. That was almost a bit of a fake out. I love that.
It's a very clever move, especially if you're on the outside of Signs. Just slow down a little bit more and take it a bit narrower, and then you get the exit and the inside. Because obviously if you take more speed in, you're obviously going to push wide. through the corner, and there was a textbook demonstration there by JC.
No, Layla Bell with the DT.
Oh no.
Oh, that sucks. That's so rough. She's had such a good recovery race, and that's going to drop her back. Probably down near Lewis in P16. Probably further than that even. That's rough go.
Yeah.
I do believe you made a vague prediction of Hislop in the top 10, and that's now proceeded to come true, so well done.
Did I?
Yeah, earlier you were saying something about Hislop making his way into the top 10. I think when he was battling with Diabolis and Rondinella and Jensen, I think.
Oh, Frustock and Crick. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Possibly. I'm a bit of a Dory sometimes.
Just take the credit.
Yeah.
It's not like this was recorded or anything. No one can look back and check or anything. But it looks like we're going to have a bit of a battle again here into signs. The Honda pulling out on the inside, but just without the toe is not going to get all the way there. But they are going to be side by side. Cook looking at the inside. JC going pretty wide, has to bring it in. Cook giving him the space to come back in. JC forced to the outside this time though. Gonna look for the up and under, but it's a bit squirrely, and it looks like Cook's got that done.
Yeah, we'll see. He needs to pull probably about 7/10 or thereabouts, I reckon, before we get into the straight next lap, to really not have to worry too much about the McLaren in the slipstream. But yeah, that time there, Cook learned from his mistake on the last lap, which was letting JC get the up and under. He made sure he was on the outside, even through the apex of the corner. So you can't really up and under if there's a car in the way. And manages to get the move done. JC did look for the up and under again into the double right. But yeah, Cook covered it off just in time to not allow him to pop the nose in. We'll see what he can do in Sector 1. He needs to really nail Sector 1 to jump back on with Curtis, who's 1.2 ahead of Rondinella. So that Aston fully out of slipstream range now. So Curtis will just be laughing away down the straight.
Curtis, is Curtis closing up the gaps to Taylor there? Right.
Potentially.
I am a bit of a Dory when it comes to times. I mean, there's so many people to keep track of. It's hard to see exactly where and how and why things are playing out the way that they are, but
yeah, I think he's been pretty close. They were fairly close when Curtis came out of the pits. I'm not sure if they're much closer now than before, but we will monitor that gap, because if Curtis is catching, it's obviously going to keep decreasing. Speaking of decreasing gaps, Monks has gained a little bit back on Holmes. It's 3.8 now instead of just over 4. Granted, that's not a massive inroad with 5. We'll say it'll be 5 laps left by the time they come across the line. Oh, actually, no, sorry, it will be 6 because it's about a 54 seconds. I keep thinking I went around 2 minutes and then realised that, like, there's 6 seconds each one, so that's about 36 seconds. So they'll cross the line with probably about 30 seconds or thereabouts to go on that final lap. So yeah, will be 6 more laps for Monks to make it happen. 3.5 now the gap, but that might just be because they're in different sectors on the track, because that is 959. Steve Lewis has had another bit of an off. Doesn't look like anybody's around him, so I assume that's he's done that by himself. But yeah, this gap now between Curtis is 1.2. So yeah, it comes down another half second or so this lap. So striking distance, probably 2 to 3 laps if they keep up this pace.
he just lost a little bit there. I don't know if I'd be betting on a Mustang at the end of its tyre stint.
He did come in quite late, so the tyres are really only about 10, 11 minutes old compared to the 25. Well, say the 15 with some of the other drivers, because he come in a little bit after the expected pit window.
But Taylor would have as well, right? Because he went very long.
Yeah, that is true. That is very true. I think they actually did come up at the same time, now that you mention it. So, we'll see.
So
It'll be
Lay the
interesting, yeah.
Bell serving her DT right now.
Yeah, I think pretty safe from Steve Lewis. He's coming around the penultimate corner now. And Layla Bell's like 2/3 of the way down the pit lane, so I think it will be, what is that, P15 for her, which is, yeah, a bit of an insult to injury there. Did so well to come back through the field, was into the top 10, possibly could have even taken 9th with, if there was, you know, so a debacle a little bit further ahead, but yeah, down to 15th, so still improves on her position, but obviously what could have been.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like her season has been a little bit like that, hasn't it? Her pace has been so good, but yeah, either maybe being a bit too hungry for those positions and making unwise moves or what have you. But yeah,
To jump
back
back
it up.
on, Crick has called back up to the Frühstück. Hislop, yeah, has actually taken it from Lele, I think. Or if, so
No, I think
no,
Lele's
sorry,
been
no, he's,
catching the whole
yeah,
time.
so 1.9 between them. I don't think he's going to be able to do much in the last 7.5 minutes of 4 laps, 5 laps of the race. Bit of a twitch there from Frühstück in the Mustang. And Crick is right under that rear wing. Probably going to maybe show the nose here into the final corner. Probably not going to look for a move, but just show the nose, see if you can force the error. Pretty easy. Just take a little bit more speed and just sort of, you know, just jink to the inside there to look for something, even if you're not planning on attempting a move. Just sort of to get them to go a little bit wide, maybe touch the sausages on the outside and just ruin their exit onto the pit straight here. I'll do the same into turn 1 as well. Just show the nose, not looking for a move, but yeah, just show the nose, sort of push them. It's very easy to compromise your line here, and you compromise yourself on turn 2, and then easy to set up a move down here into the tight right-hander of Virage de l'Hotel.
Very nice.
Thank you.
I can see the French heritage.
Hello? What's happened here? So that 1.3 seconds has suddenly disappeared, has vanished, and now it's only 0.6. So if Curtis keeps it here, that's a pretty easy move on the straight, I would imagine. Chris Taylor seems to be struggling a little bit with the tyres. The car's not looking too planted. Or maybe just took like a little bit too much speed, just got on the power touch early through the tight left-hander. Going to the final corner here. See what Curtis can do in this first sector. If he can keep it close, coming onto the straight, he's got a very, very good chance of getting the move done before the final sector.
Honda looks like it's getting away from him though.
The Honda does have very good acceleration as well, especially out of the slow speed stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if it does pull a little bit coming out the final corner. But yeah.
As we gear up for the Mistral Straight, it's go to set yourself up well if you want to get this move done, Ben Curtis. Show me what you got. Quick switch left, cut a little bit of that. Not running it too wide, but I don't know if the move is going to be on here. It's still, yeah, half a second.
He's definitely going to be pulled along, and he's definitely going to gain here, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to really look for something. I mean, as we say that, he's engaged the boosters. It's not going to be enough this lap, but... Or is it? He looks for the move regardless.
Oh,
he's going to try it around the outside. Maybe looks for the switchback here. Nah, just goes a little bit wide. Does he get the better exit off the corner? Because Taylor did go quite narrow. Does get the exit, but not enough to really do anything with it.
I appreciate the cojones there. Didn't really seem like the move was on, but kind of almost making it happening through a double droid. And we're very, very close together again as we're going to do it all over again, coming around the hairpin. That could be a track cut. For
It's, yeah, it's usually pretty safe there because you lose so much time. But then again, like, it is Paul Ricard at the end of the day. So here we go. Curtis, jinx left, jinx right. Doesn't, yeah, Taylor does well to just sort of place his car in the right spot there to defend into the 1-2 complex. But yeah, Curtis right on the back here just needs to keep it planted on the back of that Honda's rear wing in this next sequence of corners here. And if he's within, you'd almost say, 4 tenths, 3.5 tenths onto the straight, yeah, he's right there. Just needs to get a good run through this awful right-hander here. And onto the straight.
And this awful left-hander.
Yeah. Actually, I take that back. That's the one corner on the track that I do like because it's easy. Okay, here we go. The Mustang is right snug up there. 3 tenths this time around instead of the 5 that we had last time. Taylor thinks he's safe. Looks to start going towards the middle of the track instead of hugging it tight to the right. The Mustang is going to pull out of the slipstream here and it's going to continue to pull. Is he going to be able to go around the outside here at Signs? He's going to go deep on the brakes. Oh my goodness gracious me. I know we didn't have the greatest angle there, but it did look like there was almost going to be contact. There was not much in it there, but Curtis goes around the outside of the Honda at Signs. That is an incredible move. Let's see if he can hold it through the final sector.
My breath was held, literally breathless in that move. I thought they were going to touch rear quarter to front quarter. Oh my.
Yeah, I was expecting a higher speed crash. For a split second there, it looked incredibly, incredibly close. And Curtis does hold on. Let's see what he can do on the straight. Obviously, the Honda get probably the better run. Does go a touch wide and a little bit of a bounce on the curb and the anti-cut sausages outside. And yeah, Curtis is definitely doesn't have anything to worry about coming into turn 1 and 2. Just needs to take it and run. With there'll be one lap after this to go. With Holmes coming onto the straight.
Just keep it together, Ben, and you've done it. Hayden Sky is requesting an onboard with the Honda. I think that's a pretty good shout as well, if we can, just before we do a victory lap with Josh Holmes. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, that gap 2.7. So Monks is he's not leaving anything on the table for this final stint. So he's pulled back 1.3 seconds. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be a little bit too late. But yeah, see Crick and Frühstück still battling it out as they come across the line for the penultimate lap. Frühstück taking a wide entry there, or maybe Crick was a little bit narrower, trying to show the nose a little bit, just fill the mirrors. Doesn't have much more time to get a move done here, does Crick. It's not awfully close. Can't really force the error too much here. But as we jump back to a replay here, the rear wing is going to be great. We'll see how close they really. Actually, no, it was the front bar of the Honda. Here we go. So the onboard here of the Honda is Ben Curtis sweeps around the outside. It actually looks like he might even needs a brake, if not to let off the accelerator there to avoid contact. But yeah, that is a bloody good move. From the 83 Mustang of Curtis, deserves that provisional P1 in the Pro-Am class, as Josh Holmes has begun the final lap, yes. As it looks like he's approaching, just coming onto the Mistral here now.
No!
Oh. A bit of a Honda moment there, unfortunately, and it looks like the engine's stalled as well. So Monk's in the background there, just weaving down the straight, knows that although he's gained a second and a half on Holmes in the last 10 minutes or so, probably not going to be enough, unfortunately.
Yeah, so that's put Taylor down behind Rondinella as well. Well, sorry, Rondinella's advanced past Taylor after that spin. So that's a rough way to end, but yeah. Well, actually, I'm gonna hold my tongue just yet.
Yeah, anything could happen. He could
Well,
just get
like,
like abducted by aliens or.
we
Just,
literally just
carry
watched
on.
Chris Taylor spin around. I mean,
Yeah.
Josh Holmes has been in the driver's seat the whole time, pun intended. But again, not saying anything until he's on that straight.
Yeah, and there we have it. So Josh Holmes crosses the line. He will be your season 20 split blue overall champion and pro champion. Monks comes across in a respectable P2. Unfortunately, wasn't able to pip Holmes of the championship, but does take home the silver championship regardless. Jensen, I believe that is, comes across the line, or maybe that was David Marsh as Brad Cook comes across the line. What happened in the background there? What is going on? People doing burnouts before the line. Oh, JC is, yep, he's doing burnouts before the line. Um, interesting. That's a new one. So
Bit of
Thistleway goes through, and I think Rondinella and Curtis might have gone through as well. No, looks like that's
that's
Curtis there.
Curtis, and this is Rondinella.
That's Rondinella there. So they're your top two in Pro-Am class. And then Jensen shouldn't be too far behind either. Unfortunately, something happened in the middle of that race that I think we missed. He dropped back a fair margin, about 15 seconds behind the top two, but still, P3 in class is nothing to snub your nose at. A very, very successful season for Zach. I've been very proud of him. Um, I think Rondinella takes out the Pro-Am Championship uh, by some margin, but yeah, Jensen's been a definite competitor over the entire season. As I believe that's Wood that crosses the line there, and then we'll have Frühstück, who does hang on to the position from Crick. 6/10 or something, 4/10. There you go, across the line, and then Bell and Lewis will be our last two finishers.
Well, what a race that was.
Always content at
I think that
Ricard.
was, it was pretty clean actually. Like
I was gonna say, I think
how
there's
many
maybe
actual
one,
incidents?
yeah, one actual penalty, which is genuinely quite impressive.
Yeah.
Hats off to Split Blue there. That's a very fair effort.
Aaron O'Brien with the interesting message there. Um, do you want to run us really quickly through our results, please, Breno?
I sure can. So Holmes takes out the overall victory and the overall championship with that win, followed very closely by Monks. Only 3 seconds split them at the line there. Cook gets past JC in the dying minutes of the race to take the overall podium there. In silver class, we had Monks, Lele, and Bell, so only 3 drivers there. Lele, unfortunately, did an extra pit stop, so dropped back behind. And in Pro-Am, we've got Curtis, get in there, son. Takes out the win in the Pro-Am class, followed pretty closely by Rondinella, and Jensen rounds out your Pro-Am podium. And then in Am, we had David Marsh, who was just there for the vibes.
David Marsh was at the race.
But P17 overall is a
It's
pretty
good
good
result.
effort as well, especially after the spin on lap 1.
Yeah. Who's your driver of the day?
Oh, you put me on the spot. I know
It's always
Curtis,
to put you on
yeah.
the spot.
I don't really think about it. I just sort of commentate, and then I'm like, I've got to give it to Curtis. I know this is his favorite track, and he was in the correct machinery, but that is a mega drive to take P6 overall and the win in Pro-Am. So I reckon he'll be my driver of the day.
I've put myself on the spot. Oh, I mean, I wanted to give it to Curtis. I thought he had a very, very good drive. I also kind of wanted to give it to Cook. I feel like the Honda is just so just unagreeable, and putting it in P3 and some of the moves he did was really, really good. I really liked the second attempt around JC at signs. I thought that was really good. So, well, that's us for Split Blue. We're signing off for the final time for Split Blue, which is a little sad, but there'll be more good things to come. Who are we passing over to? I have Brad Gosling in the booth. I think JC will be joining him. So have fun in Split Red. Hang around. It should be starting relatively quickly, I would imagine. Thank you very much, Breno, for joining me tonight and throughout the season. And thank you, Ben, on the cameras. And thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thanks, Blake. Thanks, Brenno. Yep, great job there, guys, with Split Blue. And yes, no doubt I will have JC coming along here in the not too distant future. Once he gets himself out of his car, he'll probably go and have a quick little drink and freshen up before we take on the qualies for Split Red. And congratulations, guys. Great job on the season so far. And you've done well.
Cheers, Brad.
everyone. Hello. Round 6 is underway, and it's the last split of the season. It is Split Red. It is Paul Ricard, and it is I, Jamie Conboy, joined by a Brad Gosling this evening. Hello to you, Brad.
Evening, Jamie. How are you, mate?
I'm a very sweaty boy.
I was going to say, how's the old shirt going after the blue race there, mate? That's 75 minutes of non-stop. Hey, I know they say that you can boil a cup of tea along that back straight, but honestly, mate, outside of that, this track just does not stop. Hey, like it is continuous.
100%, and especially in these temps where the tyres sort of go off a little bit too early for your liking, even with the 2 pit stops. After sort of lap 5, lap 6, you feel the pace drifting away, and then you try and overdrive the car a little bit. And if you do that and you make it into a slide, then it's all over from there because it gets really tough after that. So you're right. Other than the straight, it is a pretty complex and difficult track to master. So lots to do, and especially in the race when you've got other cars around and there's so many different lines through these corners. It's such a baller track. I don't know why people don't like it. I get that it's probably not particularly fun to hot lap. But once you get around other cars in a race setting, it is an absolute rip snorter. So looking forward to Split Red tonight, that's for sure. How's the points table looking here in Split Red? I hear it's pretty close up the top.
Mate, it is super close. It's unfortunately for Ralahay, like he's been absolutely on it. So he's, as far as overall combined points, he is absolutely monstering this. He's 100 points up from the next closest at Shady Samuel. Ralahay's got 660. Samuel's got 560. Lucas Keys, the bomb, is 540. But then that's grand total. So the big thing that we're all got to really take into consideration is drop rounds. So Ralahay's done such a great job along the whole time. He's actually sitting 3 points behind Lucas Keys on a net points totals, and Shady Samuel don't leave him out of this equation. 79 points behind. So P1, 2, and 3 for the overall championship, mate. It is hot contention tonight. Any one of those 3 guys slips up, and that's it. It's over.
Unreal. So that does sound, especially between Lucas Keys and Relahi at the top, that sounds really, really close. But you're suggesting that maybe all Lucas needs to do here is finish in front of Relahi. And as long as those 2 don't finish sort of outside the top 10, then that kind of keeps Shady out of it. But if those 2 have a bad night, Shady's right in with a chance as well.
That's it, mate. That's it. As they say, he's on their calculations, mate. He's definitely got the chance there. But yes, it's definitely a point of Keys and Ralahay have definitely got to do something epically bad, like as in if they want to start going all Talladega Nights down the back straight and take each other out into the walls. And Shady goes, "Thank you very much." Outside of that, he's just got to hang in there. It's a little bit of contention there, but he's a little bit off. But as we're looking here now at Lucas himself there in that epic livery of that Aston Martin, mate, it has now come down to this is Lucas's championship to lose, mate. But Ralahay, he's been right up there the whole time, super consistent. We've really seen him under pressure and being able to hold his own in that BMW, but as you know, mate, more than anyone else, or as much as anyone else, position off the start is such a key thing.
Let's not talk about race starts. What about the silver class? Is I think Carl Johnson would be right up there with a chance of that one, wouldn't
he? Yeah, well, he's definitely up there, mate. He's got a few points up, so he's currently sitting about 28 points ahead of Rob Underwood there in silver. So that's definitely close there, mate. The battle is, I definitely won't leave that one outside of the corner of my eyes there, mate. So, same thing. If one of those...
Just while you go on, is that Underwood in the pits there? Interesting. So there's a couple of cars in the pits, but Underwood is one of them. I wonder if that's not a quali ban or something, is it? Someone's going to have to go and check that in the pit lane. Why is Underwood sitting there and not qualifying?
There you go, chat. How are we going, guys? Rob Underwood.
Oh, there he is. Right in the... There he is. What are you doing, Rob?
How are we going, Rod? To jump... 0. Oh, Robbie.
No, Rob, go on. You've got 7 minutes. Don't worry about your practice. You have to at least qualify. Come on, this is for the Silver Class Championship. We were just talking about the fact that you're not far behind Carlos, and he's up there in P5 putting times down. Come on, Rob, get out on track.
No, he doesn't have silver in the bag, mate. That's not how you drive. Come on,
No
Rob.
way. Get out there, Rob.
You've got to send it to him, mate. Got to send it to him.
Anything can happen.
28 points. You know, that's a few positions in that, but not certainly nothing that you can't fight for, mate. So, and
Plus, you're in the Bentley, Rob. So, as sort of displayed, by Josh Holmes in the last split, that Bentley's really, really good here. So, you're in with a really good shout. I think even if you go out there and qualify sort of inside the top 10, a long race, 75 minutes, you give yourself a huge shout. And if Carlos has, an off night, or if his drop round is large, you're in. Go get it, Rob. Go and put a friggin' lap down.
Yeah, 56. That's all right. That's better than a 2-minute, mate. Well, while we're going from there, talking silvers, there's a couple of guys here that are definitely going to make their way up into silver for the next series. That is for sure, and they are Salvaggio and Gobe. I reckon these two guys have had an absolute cracker season so far. Really, really taken it to the silver guys, and set a few of the silver drivers pretty straight, mate. So, and the gap there is probably a little bit higher. We're looking at 321 for Salvaggio, 279 points there for Gobe. So that's pretty well Salvaggio, unless Salvaggio does something epically wrong. But mate, he has been so consistent this season as well, mate. 40 odd points, 42 points between those two. I'd say at that. Mathematically, again, you could say that Gobe's in with the chance. Gobby's in with the chance there, mate. But I reckon Salvaggio's pretty well got that, got the Pro-Am sealed, locked, loaded, and ready in the barrel. As Lucas Keys is still on fire there, 53. He's 53-1, mate. What's he?
Yeah, 53-1. He's got 2 tenths here before he gets into the last sector. So I don't know what he's got left in the bag in these last 2 corners. This is a very tricky part of the track. This is a long, late apex and then a really quick, tight right-hander here. The Aston handles that okay. He's just lost a little bit on exit there, but we're very close to a 52 here. 0.17 needed, 0.17 on the delta. He's going to get a kudos delta, and it is out by 0.20 seconds. But he's look at the gap between him and Shady Samuel, though. Goodness gracious, it's tight up the top there.
Oh, that's wow.
The other thing I'm noticing too is Ralahi's not quite got the pace here tonight to match these front two. He's put in enough laps now to sort of suggest that might be his pace. Is around about 4 tenths off the guys up the front. So he's in the pit lane now. If he gets some fresh boots on, he has got time to get out there, but it's going to be a hard push trying to get the tyres warmed up in time to get a hot lap down, and I think that might be the extent of his pace. So the BMW, not particularly strong on the straight compared to the Ford, but it's certainly going to have a good battle with the Aston. If he stay with him over the first lap or two, he'll enjoy the slipstream, but yeah, that sort of sets us up, doesn't it, with Keys being about 3 tenths quicker than Ralahi, and as you said before, all he needs to do is stay in front of him for the championship. Shady Samuel is putting his case forward. He said, I'm not done here, boys.
That's it. He's like, well, just to let you know, I might be a few points behind you boys, running in P3 at the moment for the championship, but he's definitely saying, I am not giving up without a fight here. Going to take it to the boys right to the death. Right to the death.
Extra little bit of importance here too in this qualifying session for all my fruit bowlers out there. Shady Samuel currently P1 on the fruit bowl leaderboards. Lucas Keys very close in P2, but sort of suggesting that maybe Shady had a toe to get that time in P1, whereas Lucas is sort of saying, I didn't get my toe. This settles it. This settles it right here once and for all. If Shady Samuel's on pole, you can get stuff, Lucas Keys, because that fruit bowl time stays there. So that's what I'm looking out for here, is whilst this is a very good battle for the championship, the Fruit Bowl leaderboard is obviously the pinnacle of motorsports in Australia. So we're just going to...
Absolutely.
Lucas Keys replies instantly and gets into the 52s with 2.5 minutes to go. He's got time for 2 more laps. I don't know what his pet situation's like, but goodness gracious, that's tied up the top.
Oh, wow. That's pulling out a 52 at any time in this... this current state, mate, is a absolutely epic lap there from Keys. Absolutely, mate. So as we're just watching Struix not. He's on the pace a little. Like he's at the back end of the definitely at the back end of the pros. He'll get another lap in here. He's invalidated. Well, invalidated from the lap before, because as we see there, he's about to hit the 4-minute mark. So he's obviously just done a warm-up lap, got his tyre pressures adjusted as well as he can before he comes in for his final flyer. And what's Shady up to this time around?
Got the ACC belted bugger happening at the moment, so I don't think that's a lap. It is very close, though, so he's warmed up, and he's got a car in front of him. I am mildly concerned about that car in front of Shady. Hopefully they just jump out the way, because Shady's only got time for one more, so this is literally Shady's last lap. Hopefully that car in front of him in camera 2 there plays nice and either gives him a tow up the straight or just completely departs the scene, because, as I said, Shady's only got time for one more, as does Lucas, as we watch him now coming into... He's off the scene straight, coming through Bender now. And he's about a 10th up as well, so, that's very close to off the track there, Lucas, but he's kept it on. He has lost that time that he'd gained down the straight and in through at the start of the last sector. As you see, 2 corners to go now, but he's really optimised this lap, or he's missed the apex by a mile there, so that's not it. That's not going to be an improvement for Lucas Key, so that's the time to beat for Shady Samuel. And Relahi out here too is up on his time, but having done the first sector already and still only at even, really, he's got to find 4.5 tenths to be within the shout. So I don't think he's going to be challenging for pole, but Shady's the one to watch now.
Yeah, I reckon Relahi's probably...
Shady's been cocked. Look at that. I predicted that. Sorry, just as we came through scenes there, that car's just ruined Shady's attempt. So bit of a shame. Of course, they're entitled to. They've, if he was on a valid lap, then there's no reason that he has to get out of the way and give way to Shady Samuel. So just for us spectators, it would have been nice. But anyway.
Yeah, that's it. But unfortunately, Relahi, he's going to miss the time on this on his outlap by quite a few seconds there. So unfortunately for him, not going to be able to make up any extra time. So that's how so far I reckon she's going to stay as P1, 2 and 3. Those 3 guys are done and dusted here now, as he's pulling up on the back of the Ferrari of Samo. Ryan getting out of the way, even though probably didn't quite realise there that Relahi wasn't on a hot lap himself as well. So as we get the guys crossing the finish lines here now, mate, we'll see how the dust settles for those down to the top 10 and going from there.
About Pete Viney up there, by the way. Tarks has gone and slapped it into P7. He's the best of the rest. You can see the top 6 within a second of each other there, and there's a pretty large gap. But Pete Viney, the best of the rest in the car 118, he's just put it into P7, if you don't mind, as a Pro-Am. That's a very nice little performance in qualifying from Tarks.
Absolutely. It's nice to see a few extra different colours in the top 10, mate. A lot of times, you get doing a little bit of practice into the pits too. It's quite good being able to see a little bit of extra colour coming up into the top 10 as well. I can't remember the last time I saw a red in the top 10 after qualifying, so I would dare say it probably hasn't.
I think he's going to go close here. This is a full second of improvement. If we're not getting balked here, this is a very good lap. He's absolutely butchered that last corner, though. He had nearly a full second. Where's he gone?
Where did he go?
Where did he go? We don't want to look at the Zawaga. Where's Gorm? Okay, Gormley P11. He's improved into P11 and missed out on the top 10 by, I reckon, a couple of thousandths. And it's all in that last corner. You saw how much he just bled out of there.
Here I was obviously giving him a little bit too much of a rap there. The old, good old commentators cursing, a red in the top 10, and I've bled it out of him.
In saying that, still, even though that's a cracking lap from Gormley, he's outperformed old mate Gobby too. His best mate has just gone and put it in 14th or something, I think. So he's outperformed him and done a very nice little lap there. Good stuff, John.
Yep, as we gradually, slowly make our way down, this is also a good time to do the shout out to our cameraman behind the scenes there, the legend, Benny Hignett, keeping all these screens coming to you as he does a master job of that one. So big shout out as we're doing the track walk down through all the pit past the pit lane on all the cars as they're coming through. Got some great liveries. Once again, we do say it, I think every start of every race. The definitely shout out to the guys that do this as a profession, and you can really tell the cars that are doing such a great job there. As we're coming through the field, getting to the back half through here now, I didn't actually catch how many was here for the night, mate. Did you happen to see total numbers?
No, I wasn't looking, but I think it's more than 24 because the leaderboard looked chock-a-block, and I think it gets to 24 before it starts to run out of room. So it's at least 24, I think, which is a very good little turnout here for Paul Ricard. Last round of the season, 75-minute race.
Yep.
Yeah, lots of people obviously visiting Melbourne for the F1 GP this weekend. And there's, I think there's obviously the floods and the hurricane obviously has just smashed into New South Wales and Queensland's put a few people out as well. So considering all that, that's a pretty good effort. So it's 2021. I thought I saw 24, but I might be wrong. That's never mind. But that's still, as I said, a very good turnout considering the circumstances around the country this week.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, circling back to your liveries, when we first allowed custom liveries into OR a couple of years ago, it was a bit of a mess. There was a lot of really shabby looking numbers, and a couple of people stuck their hands up early, and there was a couple of really good entries. But yeah, half the grid was sort of a bit weird looking. But now, look at that. That is a proper quality, good looking grid. That is. It's just professional liveries up and down. So I'm very pleased that the skills have come out. We've got so many really impressive livery makers now that if you haven't got one yourself or you haven't got the talent, then just stick your hand up and you'll have 3 or 4 jump at the opportunity to make one for you because they love doing it.
Yeah, that's it. It's a passion piece, and I think it's one of those things. The more that you do, the better you get at it. And a lot of times, you can do your own car, and then you do your own car again, and then you do your own car, and it's great to see the guys that can really extend and go. I've got this as a thought. Can you make that into my car? And it's really cool seeing what a lot of the guys can produce there. So we've got Underwood doing the last to first trick for the last one of the day. We've got Gormley, who's absolutely monstered it there, leaving half of the field for dead in the really taking out the AMs there as well. So great job for him again. I'll shout him out again. He's done a great job. I love having little battles with him when I get on the track. It's always good fun. And the guys cleaning off the little green little buttons there. So just clearing the track by the look of it.
Have we had any... I didn't actually catch much of last night's racing. Obviously, there's no rain, but do we have any safety cars last night? Paul Ricard can generally be a pretty safe start. Turn 1 is a little bit dicey with a big stacked field, but other than that, the first sector doesn't really lend itself to massive collisions, and then everyone's got the big, long straight to sort of sort themselves out. So I don't know if do we have any safety cars last night? Obviously not in Split Blue.
No, I didn't get an opportunity to catch the start of the race last night either, mate. So I'm only assuming that it was all pretty good. But anyone in chat who might have been able to watch it there last night, let us know if there ended up being any safety cars last night as well. So that'd be great to know. But yeah, as you say, mate, I think it's a reasonably safe track in the sense that there is a lot of the runoff area. If things go well and truly pear-shaped, it's a long way before you find a barrier, a piece of concrete, or even a little blade of grass, mate. Unless you're in the outfield up on the banks, there's not too much of that either. So yes, fortunately, you can run them pretty safe. As we get the guys, as they start to bunch up now, coming in alongside 2x2 now. No more swerving, no more brake, warming up. And as we get ready to go around the last couple of corners, I'm sure you know a whole lot of the names a lot better than I do, mate. I'll go the corner near the start, and then the one after the big straight. So you got them covered.
I've got a couple of them down. I'm not French, so even if I did know the names of a few of them, I probably wouldn't attempt to butcher them. But I've got a couple. Obviously, Bender's very important. I can't believe Bender's got his own corner. And then Scenes at the end of the straight. Everyone's well aware of Scenes. But anyway, let's have a look. I'll tell you what I'm interested in now too is that because Leah Keys is on pole, that Ford of Shady Samuel is going to be an absolute weapon down the straight in slipstream. But anyway, we're underway. Lucas Keys on the inside. Shady not getting the start quite right, but did get a nice launch. Ralahi did a really good tuck up behind the Aston, and into turn 1 they go. They are 2x2. A lot of there's actually a little 3x3 back there, but everyone filing through nicely. And that's how you do a race start at Paul Ricard. Nice work, Split Red, as they filter on through Relay. He has got the jump on Shady Samuel and is up into P2. So he's sort of said to himself, look, I can't allow myself to be sitting behind Shady here for too long. If I want to hold on to this championship, I need to get this move done and challenge Lucas Keys as they get into the straight. There's no yellow flags back there. Really nice work from Split Red, all tucked in nicely. But Lucas has got a really nice start coming through the end of the first sector and onto the straight. He had a very nice exit onto the straight. And that means that Relahi's under a lot of pressure now. You can see the gap back there too that these three have pulled out from the rest of the field. Class above the rest, really got it done nicely. Shady up into P2. The Ford, an absolute weapon on the straight, and even stronger when it's in a slipstream. But Lucas Keys will be just pleased. Oh, there was a couple of little close ones there, 2x2s as they come to the end of scenes. You can see them all try and sneak back on before these bollards, because going outside those little flecker tapes there will get you a track limit, which is not what you want at the start of a 75-minute race really early on. But they seem to mostly get it done, and if not, they were very wide, which would have meant that they lost a lot of time. Nice little side-by-side action here from Stefano Ricciuti. And I believe that's Johnston in the Fruit Bowl Aston. And as I said before, Lucas Keys would have been very happy to have seen Relahi actually get the job done on Shady early on, because that meant that he wasn't under pressure from the Ford coming up onto the straight. But now that Shady's got that done, if he can hold it as they go on to lap 2, he'll be putting the pressure on Lucas Keys. Back here, Carlos has jumped up very nicely, having started from, I think, P10 or 11 up into P6 now. And Gobby's had an absolute rip snorter of a start. He started P14 or P15 or something like that. He's now at P7. And that is a ripper from Gobby in the Ford in the car 72. Struick started P6 back in the 8th. Warren also started around about the 6th or 7th mark, and he's dropped back. Viney also having dropped back. So there must have been just a little collision there a little bit. And I tell you what else I'm seeing up there is P. Underwood. Mr. Underwood in P11. He said he wasn't going to qualify. I don't know if he's come from the back and put it up there in P11, or if he actually did qualify and missed that. But that's not too shabby there. Only 5 or so spots behind Carlos Johnson.
Yeah, I definitely did the double take on Underwood as well, mate. I'm like, no, I definitely made sure that I said it was the old last to first trick that he's going for. He obviously had a few little thoughts in the back of his head going, oh, I'm just going to watch everyone do the little touchy along the way, and I'll just let everyone do that while I just waltz on past, which he's done a great job of, hasn't he?
Mr. Bignett in the cameras chasing down the replays for us as Shady Samuel goes up in a P1, by the way, but we'll come back to that. So this is a little touch up there from Tarks. So that's what's happened to Tarks and Co as they headed down into this very tricky little complex in the first sector. We'll have to go and chase down Gobby's first lap as well, because a lot of chat going through suggesting that his start was an absolute barnstormer. So we'll go and have a look at that at some point. But now, as I said, Lucas Keys has fallen behind Shady Samuel's Ford. Here we go. Who's this Shady? This is the move. Yeah, look at the Ford. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. When it gets into the slipstream, it's an absolute monster. In fact, gets totally clear of him. Doesn't even have to go side by side through scenes. Just gets the job done and is now putting purple laps down. Can he extend enough to get out of the slipstream from Lucas Keys and Relahi behind him?
Oh, that's it. And mate, with the Mustang, it's certainly not far from its ability to do that if he gets a great little run off. And this is definitely Shady saying, righto, you two, you doof it out for P1 and P2. Here we go. Great job, Ben, as we're waiting here. And this is on Gobby, yeah?
Correct. Yes, this is Gobby, and his Ford Performance Ford brethren up there, 2 cars on the left, is John Gormley. So as I said, John starting in front of Gobby here, the McLaren of Salvaggio getting a nice start, and John not quite getting the start he wanted. Gobby got a nice start too, and he was looking around the outside of Zavaki here. Oh, just brave under brakes, siding through the middle. Hello. Gets it tucked in nicely. That's a ripper of a start. And then down here, he's now behind Tarks. You saw Tarks' Porsche, the 118 there on the left. They have an incident in the next corner or so. So I think he's going to clean up a few more positions here as those two, very deep under brakes again. He's not afraid to get on the anchors late on this first lap. That's absolute big ball stuff from Gobby. And that is why he has gone from P14 to what bloody he is now, P7 or something.
Yeah. That's that. Oh, mate, you could not have said that better, mate. That is what they need to change their racing name to Big Balls Racing, mate. That was just out of control commitment. That's knowing your car, knowing exactly what it's doing and what it's capable of. But very fortunate that he was able to see the gaps and be able to really attack it. That was that's great driving on his behalf. Really
he's still
good
going
driving.
too, because he's got the forward, he's got the slipstream, he's going to have to go around the outside of scenes, but he's braked late, he's tucked it. He'll tell you what a first lap from Tim Gobb. This is crazy stuff. And the replay's still going. It doesn't keep going, does it? Goodness gracious, that's a ripper. Tarks, we were talking about the 118 Porsche, that little green incident in the first couple of corners. He now gets himself a 15-second invoice for that incident. But, yeah, wowee, that's one for the record books for Gobby. Very pleased with that. Let's hope that he can book that for now and just sort of tuck in behind Carlos Johnson up there in P6 and set himself up for a good race, because that's a ripper.
Absolutely is, mate. Absolutely is. And talking about while we're going on how great Gobby's opening lap is, looking down Salvaggio, P14. He unfortunately, mate, made it made it a part of all the biff that was going on. Unfortunately, he definitely didn't get quite as good a run, I suppose. Well, far out. Gobby's run. No one's going to have as good a run as what Gobby just had then. So it's anyone's going to outside of him, mate, is not going to have a good run. So, but unfortunately, Gobby there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spots up from Salvaggio. This is going to be absolute. I'm going to have to do some calculations here. I'm going to be one of those calculator spec guys, mate, for the evening, especially from the final race. But mate, this could be really interesting for the overall Pro-Am victory.
You couldn't pay me enough to get the abacus out and have a crack at that, because that's too hard with drop rounds and all that sort of shit going on. I'm not even going to bother having a crack at that. No, I'm glad that it is the battle's up for grabs now. So Salvaggio, obviously, as you said, with a lot of work to do now, with an hour and a half to go. So that's that'll just give a bit of spice to that one as we come towards the end of this race. And I'm sure there's Sparta people out there in chat who might have a go at trying to calculate it and see what happens.
Well, mate, once things kind of settle down into a bit of a groove, I might have a little tinker away with the calculator here at some point, mate. But anyways, still plenty of action going on up the front. These three they're daylight. There's a half a cup of tea in between them and P4 there. That's a whole 4.5 seconds that these guys have pulled out already within the first 9 minutes of racing. These guys are definitely saying, you know what, 75 minutes, let's see how far we can go.
Yeah, absolutely. It helps that they're sort of towing each other along too. Relahi's kind of dropped off the back a little bit, but these three haven't really been battling side by side, as opposed to behind them, Johnson, Ricciuti and co. Have all been going side by side through corners and holding themselves up. This is a penalty to Underwood. I would suggest he's given Tarks a right old punt. And as we were talking about before, Underwood, and he's in the pits now too, so I don't know whether he's just pitting and he's going for an early one, he's going to come out, or I think that's it. He's packed it up. You've just seen him disappear, so he's... it's gone from bad to worse there. We ramped him up. We tried to get him out there, but that's Carlos Johnson going very, very wide. I was just about to say Carlos has wrapped up this silver championship, and I mean, now that Underwood's left, he kind of has, but he just about fell off the track there a little bit. Gobby up in a P6 now. Struick behind him up into P7, and Carlos back to P8. But unlucky for Underwood, he just obviously didn't get that right, and thought, well, I'm not going to sit here and do Paul Ricard for an hour. He might be a Paul Ricard hater. They're out there. I don't believe it, but they're out there.
Oh, mate, it's a lovely world that we live in, isn't it, mate? When you get all these lovers and haters, it's just like, love it. Love every track, mate. You got to see the rose amongst the thorns sometimes. The ultimate optimist. But you definitely got to see the rose amongst the thorns in every track. Come on. No, you can shush up, Ben. Okay. You can come back to that one later.
He's making you eat your words, is he?
I was going to say maybe there's too many. Is there a point? Here we go. Is there a point where a rose has too many thorns on it? Chat. Ugh. Internet had too much French lunch. So yes, that is pretty true. That it is. Well,
too much baguette.
Unfortunate there. But yeah, Gobby, just absolute monster as we're watching.
Look at this. This is the Aston in the slipstream. Absolutely no chance. Not even catching him in the slipstream. And he's not like it's... Yeah, and it's not like it's a 6/10 slipstream either. Like, he's right up behind him, and the forward's just like, nah, it's fine.
Try again. Next lap.
That's very close there, though. So, just got to keep a little eye out for the track limits there, Gobby. But yeah, this is a very strong performance so far. It is really hard to bop the Ford at any track with a really long straight because it's just so powerful on long straights that it makes up so much time, and it's really hard to put enough weight on it to keep it slowed down. Look at the battle going on back here. This is Warren and Viney side by side in the Porsches, and in a Porsche right behind him, I believe. Well, I think it's a Porsche. It might be. It is Lunchbag. That's Lunchbag right behind them.
Yep.
So, and then behind them, there's also Salvaggio and Gormley going at it. So this is a red-hot little ding-dong here between 5 cars.
You sure this isn't the Porsche Cup race, mate?
I was watching them go around Melbourne too, by the way. Oh, goodness gracious, they're good set. They are gorgeous cars. They really are nice. They were flipping around Albert Park today. I was out there having a look. Oh, Christ, they sound nice.
Yep.
Oh, down side from Lunchbag. That's a very nice move. He's tucked that in beautifully. Made that look easy. It almost looked like Zach opened the door for him. It was that clean. He certainly didn't. He hit the brake marker as best as he could, but Lunchbag just found his way for you beautifully. Nice one.
And just looking up on the tree, mate, Salvaggio's not having a great night, mate. He's obviously less than 15 minutes down. He's got to drive through. I wonder if he's the first track limits jail man.
Oh, he's not. Oh, he is. Oh, no. That's very early. We're not even 15 minutes into the race, Gabriel. What are we doing? And he's going to get absolutely gobbled up by this Ford now, too. Look at this. Just going to walk past him. I wonder how much wing he's running. He seems to be really struggling with a bit of understeer, Salvaggio, in a couple of places. And, I mean, he kept up with the Ford for most of the way down the straight there. So, whilst that move looked easy for the Ford, it would have been much easier if the McLaren was running any sort of... Oh, that's not how you take scenes. John Gormley. So, Salvaggio's probably going to get that one back.
Oh, and again.
Oh, yeah, no, he's just completely boogered that up. Where's he going? He's still out there. What is he doing? What? He's dropping back. I think he's just rejoining safely. I was going to say, I hope that's not a hardware issue, but I think he's just done a good job of rejoining safely there.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate, mate. He's done a great job. I reckon he must love Paul Ricard, mate. He must be one of your flower boys, mate. With throwing the rose petals out on this racetrack, absolutely loving it. No thorns here, so he was definitely doing a great job there. So hopefully, we'll keep the eye out, see how far through. And yes, unfortunately, with the great safe rejoin that he did have, has put him down 3 or 4 positions there as well. But this is like the Oppie chase cam, this one. So this is the smile at the bumper cam, this one.
John Gormley's wheel partially came off his desk, which may be why he had to sort of vacate the scene there a little bit. Might have had something to do with it anyway. It certainly looked like he had to throw the wheel to get it back within track limits as he came around scenes there. It was a very aggressive move to try and get it back on track, and in doing so, might have just ripped the wheel straight off his desk. And so that's why we saw him go out really wide as he tried to readjust that, get it back together. That's funny.
Oh dear. Just looking down the tree, here we go. And this is wheel on the door, and now wheel not. As we see, probably come to go to turn, and keep turning. Keep trying to turn.
He's just trying to fix it now with one hand while adjusting it with the other.
Yep.
Oh, pretty good bloody effort there.
That's a great effort, especially coming through some of the hardest corners as well with that one. Wow.
Josh Struick doing very nicely here too for someone who's never driven this track before, just quietly. GT7 champion coming over from Gran Turismo to start ACC driving this season, has done very well on debut. We were sort of looking at him at the start of this season, not sure what his pace was going to be like, but he served us up a very strong qualifying in round one. We thought, oh goodness, he's not going to be down here in Pro-Am for very long. They put him up in the Pro class within 2 weeks. And he's been very, very strong all season long. So if he gets another big long season under his belt, which is coming up, by the way, we've got a 2-week break before we get into the next one. And the next season is the longest one we've done in a while. So it's going to be more a season of attendance and consistency as opposed to this short season. Just 5 or 6 rounds, I think it has been. And you've seen the really fast guys get out to a nice early lead and haven't really looked back. Next season, the guys who show up every single week are in for a really good shout of getting their best sort of season results, as I said, just by turning up and putting the car in the right places. So Josh, next season will be hopefully joining us. I'm not sure whether he has signed up, but if he does, as I said, he gets a nice long season under his belt and gets to he'll really mix it with the top guys next season. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, that's it. I think having a good short season for him to start with, really kind of getting your legs in the game. You know, it's all the little idiosyncrasies within the different games of how they feel and all the cars drive. And as much as there's a lot of the conceptual stuff is all very similar, as we've got a replay here.
That's Lucas Keys nearly getting into the back of Shady Shamel. Shady's just missed his brake marker there and gone very deep under brakes into Bender. And of course that corner is deceptive. It's mostly a double apex for any car who goes through there, but that was a very, very, very double apex. And Lucas almost thought about throwing it up the inside there, I think, and then realised pretty late on that he wasn't going to make it, so he had to get out of it and was very lucky not to get into the back of Shady there. So not all super well up there at the front, with Shady just starting to feel the wear a little bit, but they are still nice and clear of Ralahi now. So Keys, I think, very happy to just sit behind Shady Samuel here. He doesn't mind losing one to Shady as long as he stays in front of Ralahi.
That's it, mate. I think he's, as much about thinking for the line honours. I reckon he's definitely thinking, as long as I can stay ahead of Raleigh, I'm good. So he will stay with Samuel as long as he can, while he can get that free toe down the back straight. If he can keep that up, as I was just only looking there, not that on this last lap of. We were saying earlier, just with Raleigh just getting out of that toe down the big straight, and you can really kind of see that starting to take effect now, as ultimately, we were saying earlier how the Aston doesn't really have the great legs. It's really quite agile through a lot of the tighter stuff, as we're seeing here, as Keys is right up on the back of Samuel, but really getting out of that toe. For Raleigh is just it's now starting to look that little bit more obvious, where he's just not been able to keep up that pace down the main straight, and he's losing it. It's not much. It's tenths or hundredths a lap, and 20 minutes down, and he's still there, but 2 seconds off is now where he's at, mate. So interesting to kind of keep an eye on that and see how they go. Oh, that's Lucas Keys is well and truly giving him a tickle up that rear diffuser.
We're watching Struick behind Gobby here. This is P6 and P7 we're on board with. But no, you're right. He was very close under brakes. No, you're right. It's an Aston following a Ford, so I'm very understanding of the mix-up.
Yeah. Well, that's 2 Fords with 2 Astons, mate. So there you go. Who would have thought?
Got a very strong performance here from Gobby so far. We all watched his lap 1 and how impressive that was, but now he's hung on to this, and he's holding off Struick, as who we said before is incredibly fast. So doing a very nice little opening stint here is Gobby. Of course, 2 pit stops to come. So 2 pit stop race, 2 mandatory for tyres. So whilst we said before that the tyre wear pretty high on a track when it's this temperature, 26 ambient, 31 track, the tyres go off pretty quickly. they get the chance to get in and get fresh boots twice. So most cars will sort of go for about a sort of 60% and then a 30, and then maybe a very short late stint to get a really good pace in that last stint. But a lot of them might go a little bit sort of more 33, 33, and even it out. What that will do is throw a lot of cars back into the pack a little bit. So Shady and Lucas will be just keenly watching the track map, seeing how many cars pull into the pit lane. Gormley and Braid both in there at the moment. But once a lot of the cars back in the field get their pits done, the front guys will probably look to get in there and get their stops done so they don't fall back into that traffic, because that will really shake things up. If they get stuck behind a car who they're not necessarily battling with, but of course doesn't have to give up position because on track they are in front, it can cause a lot of problems for the front guys. That's why the front guys will generally tend to go a little bit longer than the back guys.
Yeah, that's great insight, mate. For someone who definitely drives up in the front half of the front third of the pack, front quarter of the pack, mate. Actually, I'll give you that one, that's for sure. And but absolutely on point with that. The last thing these guys really need is, you go into pits, and as you come out, you got a little bit of lap traffic or something, and you can't, even if you're not necessarily going for position, but even you lose a tenth or a hundredth, half a second here or there, and then you get the likes of Ralahay who might get a clear run, and then all of a sudden, that 2 seconds is made up for itself. So they definitely. Is there a point, mate? Do you know that? I know we're talking. I can't remember which one of the tracks there a few weeks ago. A point of reference that these guys up the front will be looking on the track map, where they go, okay, I know when I'm here, this is where I'm going to be when I'm coming out of the pits. So is there a point of which you go, okay, I'm looking at the time, okay, here we go, they've been just over 20 minutes now, so they're going to be starting to think, as we've seen, a few of the lower runners have started to take those early pit stops. Is there a point of that reference on the track map where you go, rightio, I've got a clear gap now, I know I can go in, I'm going to find that clear area and come back out?
Yeah, don't know where it is on the track map here, but I know that the pit delta is about 60 to 65 seconds, so they'll know. I know that I know that Lucas Keys and Shady Samlin both know the answer to that question. That it's, as I said, it's about 60 to 65 seconds for a pit stop here, based on obviously how well you get it. So they'll know that, and they'll check out where they are 60 to 65 seconds into this lap, and then they will know that spot on the track map. It's probably somewhere just around scenes or just past that, about halfway past the track. This is a nice little battle here. Lunchbag and Carlos Johnson. Another two teammates going at it. Carlos going very wide there too, so he might just cost himself a little bit on exit. And that's Warren there, who's got a very nice exit. So Carlos, after being in battle with Lunchbag, has given one spot at least. And I thought he would come under a little bit more pressure there from Warren, but maybe the exit not quite as good as I thought it was. But the three Porsches still little ducks in a row here, going along nicely. But nice one from Lunchbag. Murphy up into P6 now, but a long way to go to get up to Ricciuti. But anyway, back to your question. As I said, I don't know the spot on the track map, but obviously, as I said, the guys know what the pit delta is. They'll have a fair idea using that information, where they are on the track map, where they need to be, where the guys in the pits are need to be. A couple of pit stops are happening now too. So Gobby's coming to the pits here. Keep an eye on Gobby, because he pitted around about, he's now pitted a lap straight after Struick. Struick now down there in P18. So Struick's pitted a lap early. He was stuck behind Gobby. I wouldn't say stuck. I don't know whether Gobby was holding him up, but Struick maybe just going for an undercut here. And so when those guys come out of the pits, that'll be interesting. A nice little tuck up here. Warren just get a block on from Carlos Johnson, who's moved over and picked his line early. And the Porsche, unfortunately, as soon as it comes out of the slipstream, just hits a big friggin' wall and runs out of steam real quick. So Carlos has defended nicely there. He knows that too. He knows. So he picked his line early. He made Warren go for a move and get out of the slipstream early. And unfortunately, Carlos again defending very hard. Warren's all over him here. He really is putting him under some pressure. And you can see, he's got the big old bloody drift on. I know that looks impressive, ladies and gentlemen, but that's going to be really sad for the tyres. Here's the pit exit for Struick. And that's Gobby there. So he's got
There we go.
that is your undercut. Ladies and gentlemen, Stewart's got that done. He's got a very nice outlap happening, and on the fresh tyres, he's put down a lap that is good enough to have jumped Gobby in the pits. So Stewart now P16 overall, but the leader of the cars who have pitted. Very nicely done from Stewart to get that the undercut working.
Yeah, that's it. And now it's really just a matter of whether Gobby can hang on. Well, I was going to say not going to be too hard, but hang on long enough to get the legs of that. Oh!
A good catch from both of them. That's going to hurt their tyres. That's going to suck a little bit.
Oh, especially first lap out. Wow.
Side by side through scenes is very, very hard, and they've had a fair crack at it, but it could have been a bit better. I think both of them probably could have given it a bit more space, but I'm not going to Stewart hat that one. It's always tough through scenes.
Yeah, that's it. So, yeah, and that's exactly the where I was just about to say whether or not Gobby's able to stay close enough there to be able to get a bit of that toe and get that Mustang really prancing along that back straight. And as we just saw that, that's exactly what he did. So I wouldn't necessarily say that was the best executed way to go through it, but you know, it's one way to do it.
Porsche on Porsche action here. 3 of them in a row. Oh, God, what's going to happen here? So there's 3 Porsches, 3 wide through scenes. I can't wait for this. Who's gonna jump out early?
Oh, wow.
Tark's on the outside, Johnson on the inside. Both of them have got the big balls and go inside and under Warren, who just backs out a touch earlier than the 2 of them, although he's got a nice run here. Through this next section, he's got the inside line on Tarks, and he's going to get it done back, but that's just huge through scenes. 3 wide they went. Great stuff from the 3 Porsches.
Oh, and that too, that great little piece there, as we're seeing Shady Samuel coming in or coming out. I think that looked like coming into the pits. But this has really now brought Zvaka and O'Brien into the back of this little Porsche-thon as we're going, and Brickley as well. So this is turning into quite an epic little Pro-Am battle here, as we're seeing more and more cars coming in there. That was not sure, didn't quite see which ones that were. We'll obviously see them in the tree there. So Johnson, O'Brien and Brickley coming in, whether or not they're trying to go for this undercut as well. But what a great little battle for all these Pro-Am drivers.
Yeah, great exchange there between all the Porsches. Breno Ellis getting very excited too, by the way, in the chat there. He's a big Porsche man, so he was very happy seeing that go on. So this is Lucas Keys now, who went for the undercut on Shady Samuel. Shady Samuel, we saw in the pit lane, is out now, and looks like... Oh, Shady's got to drive through. Shady might have sped into the pit lane or something, because it doesn't look like... He didn't have that when he was in the pit lane, so Shady's gone and sped or something in the pit lane, and now has to surf a DT. Oh, no.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Yep, well, I'm sure our master cameraman will find a little HUD there and see what the case was with that. But it's such a tight, weird little entrance into pit lane there. It's just disgusting. Oh, it's like he's over, he's down, he's...
That looked fine. I think that looked okay. Has he jumped off the pit limiter here or something? Or it looked okay on the entry. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It looked okay.
Yeah.
Is it track limits? Kamaris is in chat suggesting it might be track limits. Oh, 61. No, that is way too fast, isn't it? Yeah, okay. There you go.
There we go. Master Ben, thank you for that one, mate. So...
No, speeding in pits is not necessarily a stop-go. It just depends on how fast you're going. So you can get disqualified for speeding in the pit lane. It's just depending on how badly you were speeding. So, yeah, it's not always a stop-go. And on that occasion there, as you saw, just 61 as the rear axles crossed the pit line. And that is enough to have, got himself a drive-through. So didn't get the undercut on Shady, did Lucas Keys. But will have been very happy to have seen the drive-through, because now he can just get out there in clear air all by himself. Relahi has also pitted, but is still 3.2 seconds back. So up into P2, Relahi will go, but that has really put Lucas Keys in the box seat now.
Absolutely, and if he keeps his little gap, it's still sitting at that kind of, they've obviously done some great, very similar pits there between Keys and Rallahey. They're still sitting around that kind of 2.7 mark. Now I reckon the interesting part's going to be Keys doesn't have the Mustang tow. How's that going to affect that Aston going down the straight now that he doesn't have that little booster in front of him to really keep that going, as we see Shady Samuel coming out there behind Struick and Gobby, which will be a nice little interesting one for him to come back up through as well. But yeah, I'd be really interesting to see that little gap there between Keys and Rallahey. If that ends up kind of shrinking down a bit, mate, I'm looking forward to that.
I think a chat from you, because it was about 3.2 seconds before, and now it's down to 2.5. So let's have a look here as it refreshes. Is that any different? Out to 2.7, so it has stabilised a little bit.
Yep.
But yeah, with Lucas Keys now in clear air, as you said, I think it's a good shout. We'll keep a very close eye on that, but I'm going to keep a very close eye on this battle now, because Shady Samuel will be bloody seeing red. And in the Ford, he's going to absolutely gobble up Struick and Gobby here at some point, but how he gets past them is going to be a lot of fun to watch. So just watch the Mustang suck up behind here on the straight. That's with the Aston in a tow too, by the way. So he's getting his own slipstream from the Ford. Is he going to be brave enough to go up the inside here? I reckon he will. He's going to absolutely send it. Beautifully done. He's got the overlap. He's well and truly entitled to do it. And he's on fresh tyres too, don't forget. So he's got the extra grip. Although Struick has only just pitted as well. But that's just the pace difference between those two drivers. Shady's just a little bit of a level above and gets that one done. There you go. Gobby gets a 5-second penalty. For an infraction. Interesting. So it doesn't say that was for a collision on lap 13. So I do wonder if the stewards have just input that incorrectly, or if that is actually for a different incident that we may not have seen. Maybe Diabolz or someone in the stewards room, just let me know whether Gobby's 5-second penalty is for that collision that we spotted between him and Struick, or if that is for something else and they're still deliberating on that.
Yeah, because that was, you know, he probably could have left him a little bit more room there, I reckon, on Struick. But ultimately, yeah, I didn't see what lap number that was either, mate. So it could definitely have been.
Has said in chat there, you can see there he's put in the 5 for 72 is a bump past. The lap 13 pass it seems. So that's exactly what we were talking about, what we were watching. Yeah. So it is the lowest penalty they can give. And fair enough too, both cars kept on going straight, and whilst he did hold the position and didn't redress it, he didn't obviously clear him by 5 seconds. So yeah, fair enough.
Yep, that's it. So
Ford on Ford, here we go. Shady's got lower wing than Gobby, I reckon. So Shady's running I think it's about 4 wing, which is around about the mark for the Fords, but I think Gobby's got maybe 5 or 6, just for a little bit of added safety. And that's the difference you're seeing here, is Shady wasn't in that slipstream for too long, pulls out nicely and gets that move done pretty comfortably before they get to scene. So that lower wing on Shady Samuel's number 5 Mustang getting the job done nicely there.
Oh, as Zavaka's got the little toe there as well behind Warren. Is he going to have enough to get out? The unfortunate part with the Bentley, it gets up to its top speed really quickly, but it's not very far up. So they don't seem to quite have the same kind of top speed as a lot of the other cars. Certainly not a slouch by any means either. But I wonder if that was kind of playing into that a little bit there, even though he had a great little toe. Oh, a great little battle here between, I was going to say, with O'Brien. Sam coming up right onto the back of Zavaka there as well. And Rob is not letting these guys out of his side either. That's a great little battle for the these lower places for the Silvers and the Pro-Ams here. Great little battle going on. Oh no! There's a. Oh,
you killed him. You've killed Rob Brickley.
Oh, sorry, Rob.
That's all you. 100% your fault.
That was definitely mine. I'll. Yeah.
Struick just getting all sorts of curb there. Maybe he was going to understeer out into Gobby, but Gobby's giving him enough room, and Struick gets that one done nicely. So, not letting the 5-second penalty hold him back. He's gone and said, "I'm not waiting for that to decide this race for me. I want this on track. I want this done now." So up into P6, Struick goes on pace alone. But now the Ford back into the slipstream. Here's your curse.
Yep.
talking Rob Blickley, you're just talking O'Brien, just talking all this little battle up.
Oh,
no, that's Gormley. Gormley's just turned him around.
He's stalled there as well, so, yep, unfortunately. Both still able to go there, but I reckon he's going to have the little fine in the mail coming shortly for that one. Anyways, unfortunate, but just got them out of the battle pack itself. I don't think they really changed too many positions at all. I can still see Rob's there in behind Sam as well. So Rob managing to hold his position there, but Scotty Rochford took it. Is taken one past Gormley there as well. So good to see the Honda still out there. And you know, the Honda was doing pretty good there in split blue. A couple of them there. I saw Brad Cook was going gallivanting along with the Honda that he had there, mate. So you know, if you can tame it, that's great. But many men have tried and failed. So good luck to those who can.
He's a pretty bloody handy driver, is Brad Cook, that's for sure. I don't think the Honda's necessarily all that friendly, but if you, as you said, if you can drive it, it's a little bit under-bopped in a few places, and it's extremely strong. So he's too quick for me tonight, that's for sure. I couldn't hold him up. 280, 281 for the Bentley. That is actually disgusting. That's so sad. if you're getting out drag raced by a Porsche, it's probably not that great. And you're right. I got in front of a Bentley in my race, and it's so good. As you said, 0 to 200 kilometers an hour. There's nothing that beats it. It's so good getting onto the straight. It just pulls away. But as long as you're sort of within 6 or 7 tenths, the amount of time that you make up, once it hits that 280 wall, the McLaren does 288, 289, and even faster when it's in a tow. So it's just light work by the time you get to the end of the straight, because the Bentley just hits this 280 wall, and everything else just cruises on past it. That's a bit sad. It is a bit sad.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. I don't even know if there's really much. It's obviously just the gearing that they have inside them. As we see, there he goes. He's on the limiter, and thanks for coming.
283. This is in a slipstream. That's it. That's just as much as you can get out of poor old Eagle. Just got stuck there at 283 in a slipstream. So, yeah, not particularly strong on the straight is the Bentley. But that, I tell you what, that goes to speak levels about Josh Holmes' race, who won split blue in the Bentley and was so far above everyone else in terms of pace. He was 2 or 3 tenths clear of everyone. So obviously making up that time in all of the other places, and as we said, like, it's from 0 to 200, very strong. So just punching out of the corners and using the Bentley's legs in the short form very nicely was Josh Holmes. Very strong tonight.
Yeah, that's it. And I definitely agree, mate, because there's, you know, at the two ends of the track, it is that really kind of tight, punch it out, which is really where the Bentley can get the power down really well. It's got that extra bit of weight, but so that it doesn't really get too squirmy when it holds onto that power. It does a great job of being able to kind of punch out of the corners. And there's a couple of these good little ones here. You know, you're right back down, punching through the gears. Second, sometimes you see guys that might go third if they're not wanting to get too overly powerful and too much in the power end and kind of heat up the tyres too much. But like even just looking at that little section there as we're looking onto the back of Rob, as he's coming in, and as soon as you're getting that power down, and then all of a sudden the Bentley goes, yep, I can get power down, and goes, see you later, until you get to the back straight, and then he goes, okay, you can catch up again.
So you watch it here, the Honda's got a nice little strip stream here, but the Bentley will just pull away just over this first part of the straight. But then as soon as we get under this bridge here, the Bentley will, as you said before, hit that limiter and really start to run out of legs. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Honda here of Scott Rochford gets very close as we come towards the end of scenes here. He's going to get very nice, and he doesn't actually have the legs to get anywhere near him. I'm surprised by that because Brad Cook was extremely strong on the straight, so obviously just running a slightly different setup in terms of aero balance. But I thought, given how close the Honda was at the start of the straight there, that he might have a little crack up. He's got him for pace in these corners, though, Scott Rochford, who started right down the back of the field. So it's clearly just warming up to this track and has had a nice little couple of stints here and is pressuring the back of Rob Brickley here. Looking really strong.
Yeah, pushing it right over him as we're just seeing Gormley getting a penalty there. I assume that's obviously the one there on Rob. Unfortunate for him. He's really, really shown good pace, but yeah, old Scotty Rochford, he's definitely not letting Rob out of his sight now. Once he's in this tow, I think if he can keep it within that, that kind of 0.3, 0.4 coming onto that straight, even though you got that monster pull of the Bentley to start with, I reckon if he can keep it up nice and close, he's definitely there for the attack coming into signs.
Hello, Damiano here. Yeah, Tarks was a little bit naughty in the first couple of laps, picked himself up a 15-second penalty, and has served that in the pit lane, which is what's put him back in the clutches of Gormley, back here in P15. But with another pit stop to go, no one having completed their last pit stop yet either, by the way, but we're coming up to the half an hour to go mark, so we won't be far away. Here's your replay of what happened, I think it was lap 1, just a little bit too deep under the brakes there. Gave Warren a bit of a touch-up, sent Warren far and away across the track, really. Did well to rejoin safely and continue on. Oh, it's a bit wide there from Brickley. He's going to have to get right off throttle to keep it within the track limits. He did do that. And I thought that might just invite Annie to have a little play around here, but Brickley's got that car positioned beautifully. Although that's a bit wide. That's going to be a little bit wide, so hopefully not sitting on too many track cuts, because that'll definitely be one there. Very, very easy to pick up a track cut on the outside there. The track limits, the game, not very generous. If you go out there, it's almost always going to be a cut, especially if you're sort of on throttle, which Brickley probably was trying to defend from Annie.
Yeah, that's it. And having him all over his every mirror, left, right, and centre. Every which way you look, the old Honda's there. So trying to stay a little bit focused on the front. It is, mate. It's one of those tracks that, like, that commitment level. Here we go. Is the toe once again, like, absolutely brilliant there. Even for a Fez, as Rashudi's now up into P3. Great little job there.
Well the over-under happening here, though.
Oh, I was going to say runs super wide. Is he going to be able to keep it going out there as Johnson's just got the car a little bit unsettled on that inside curb? Wow. Side by side once again, 2 corners, 3 corners in, keeping it tight there is Ricciuti. Is he going to hold it? He certainly looks like he's got it done now, 3 corners later, and he's got the job done. Johnson's not going to leave him there, let him go without too much of a fight, so this will be a great little battle to keep an eye on. But yeah, well done, Ricciuti. That was a great executed manoeuvre there.
Yeah, he certainly made him work for it, did Patrick Johnston. But yeah, a nice little hold there from Shooty. Moves him up into P3. So what's happened to... Relahi, of course, and we're obviously watching Shady Samuel here in P5, trying to get back from his drive-through. He's done well, actually, to move his way through the field back up into P5. So he's not done yet. He might still have a chance at picking up a podium with his pace. Is there anyone who hasn't completed a pit stop yet? No, the whole board showing number 1. So everyone has completed their first and hasn't completed their second. So that's your board. That is your leaderboard, top to bottom. But they're going to come in for those second pit stops soon and shake all that up. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be too far off now either, mate. I reckon in this next kind of 3 or 4 laps, I think we'll start seeing those few of the AM guys that came in early. Would definitely be feeling those tyres now. You know, it's definitely warm. It's not absolute blistering. 29 degrees on the track, 26 degrees in the air. The tyres will definitely be feeling it, but it's definitely will be getting to the point that those first few guys that did call into pits will be wanting to get alongside of that pit lane, not too far off, I reckon. As this battle keeps going on. That's a great little job here that Rob Brickley is doing, defending off Rochford. Lap after lap after lap. Although this time,
So close
hello there. Big smiles there from the Honda. Is he going to be able to pull him out?
Oh, I don't know if he was just too close there and he's pulled out, but I don't know if he had to get off throttle to avoid the back. Christ, that looked close.
I reckon
Up
Rob's
the
probably going to
inside.
just let him go. It's like, yeah, it's not worth a spin here. So don't really want to go too wide through signs, mate. I would dare say. So great little job there, holding on as well as he did. But obviously Scott just being patient, waiting for the time, and just getting that. It's amazing that difference. You know how we were saying that earlier. It's like, you know, that 0.3, 0.4 was clearly just that little bit too much of a gap, and obviously getting a great exit for Scott there coming onto that straight got him that little bit closer, which was obvious enough to really make the most of that slipstream. It was almost too early, wasn't it?
Yeah,
As we
it was, yeah.
it's like, oh, maybe you needed to. Well, mate, he's done the job. He's got it sorted. So,
I'll tell you what I'm excited to see now, though, is how the Bentley gets onto the straight. If he can stay with him, and he's put in a very nice last sector, and got turn 1 and 2 pretty much spot on there. So he has pulled out a bit of a 3/10, sort of 4/10 gap here, and is looking good. It's always a bit wide here. He's just a little bit messy through this sector here, but if Rob stays with him, watch the Bentley punch out of this corner right here. It is an absolute weapon if he can get the power down here. And he's gone very quick through there. Carried a lot of speed through there, did Annie. Scott Rochford has absolutely nailed that set of corner. Look at he's out to nearly 8/10. So the Bentley will pick up a little bit of a slipstream here and he will get a nice run up. But that is an absolute mega set of corners there from Rochford. He went from 2 to 3/10 out to 8/10 in the wink of an eye. And it's just about got this pretty much safe now. I don't think Rob's getting anywhere near him up towards the end of the straight, and even if he does, he runs out of pace. So good start from Scott.
Yeah, that was well, like that was on point, those last couple of corners there coming onto the straight. Yeah, and it's if you can stay committed to knowing that you'll be just inside the line so that you're not going to get a track limit. If you can hit that and nail it, you that definitely pays dividends. There's Murphy coming up right onto the back of Gobby here. Gobby's doing a great job holding on. You know, he's well and truly inside this top 10 at the moment. So it's, you know, big shout out to Gobby as he's, you know, holding his own at the moment. Well and truly looking like, and obviously we haven't quite gotten quiet enough yet, mate. I haven't got the calculator out to see how we're going to go between Gobby and Salvaggio as far as points for the Pro-Am title. But, mate, he's been doing a great job inside the top 10 here.
Oh, Christ, that's close lunch bag. Christ. He's balled it up. Gobby with a 5-second penalty, by the way, is from Thailand. So is John Gormley, also from Thailand. I'll give you one guess who last week was a very naughty boy from Thailand. Come on, Peach. That's it, Glenn. That's all I'm saying. That's it. I'm not bringing it up.
Not bringing it up anymore. It's been, it's come, it's gone. I must say.
Very funny. Oh, there's that bump. See that bump there? Christ, that's funny. So that bump there is an absolute menace. I've seen cars spin there by hitting that bump. Both of them just got a bit of air as they came over that bump there. Both of them trying to get the slipstream from the green machine back there. And yeah, I've seen cars spin off of that bump, so it's just a little bit, making me a little bit nauseous seeing the suspension bounce up. And always got a nice little run here. Does Lunchbag. He's all over the back of Gobby. These two in a team speak together at the moment too, by the way, so no love lost if these two get together. But Chris Murphy, considering how much he absolutely adores this track, no, that's false. He can't stand it. He's doing very nicely, and I'm surprised to have seen him go on this long because he's got to be up at bloody 5 tomorrow morning, so he's just making this work beautifully through the last sector here. He's got that done bloody easily, really. Nice work, Chris Murphy, on up into P6. And as I said, yeah, he's doing a good effort sticking it out here. It's his first time. I think it's his first race. I don't know if he raced last week in Split Red. Used to be a Split Blue driver, but that the time didn't quite work out for him anymore, so he's had to go to Split Red. And as I said, he serves in our armed forces. Does Chris Murphy. Thank you very much for your service working in the army there. And he's got to be up at 5 tomorrow morning, so doing God's work here, coming and racing around Paul Ricard with us.
And putting on an awesome show too, mate. Absolutely. So, yep, big shout out to you, Murphy. Great job. That now actually filters all of our pro drivers back up to the top once again. You know, a little bit of consistency there. And looking down through, I'm starting to see a few little green lines here, JC. So this is, you know, within that kind of 5-minute mark. I reckon these will be all the guys, or a few of the guys that that pitted early in that first section, possibly. Or are they now trying to look and see? This is my last chance for an undercut overcut, as we're watching Lucas Keys come in as well. This will
That
be
2.7 gap that we were keeping an eye on before is now 3.4 seconds to Relahi. So he's still close, but it has just been a 10th per lap. As you said before, Keys just slightly quicker, even without that slipstream from Shady Samuel, just slightly quicker than Relahi. So as long as he gets this pit stop right and doesn't get in any sort of traffic on his way out, he should be all right to hold on here tonight for the Split Red Championship in the Pro Class.
Rightio, so looking in the chat, something between Pro and Silver would be great if they could have a new class. Well, I don't know how you go about that one. Is there can you do a gold class perhaps? What would you call what would you guys call it? Here you go, chat. What would you call a class if you had to put it between Silver and Pro?
Platinum.
Platinum. There we go. There we go. That's one of them. JC saying platinum. I said gold. What do you got out there, chat? What would be the class number 5 that would be added between a silver and a pro? Throw it out there. See what you come back with.
Tell you what I really want to see next season is everyone class themselves a little bit more aggressively. So we've had, obviously, this is what we split season 21 or 22 or whatever it is. We've had a lot of very fast drivers come and go in Octane Online Racing. They've obviously moved on to greener pastures or different games or whatever. A lot of our very, very fastest drivers have now moved on, and we've seen to have a lot less pros this season. I think there's only 3 or 4 in split blue, and there's only 3 or 4 in green and yellow. So there's a lot of silver class drivers that can sort of sneak themselves up into pro now, and I think a lot of pro-am drivers that can sort of start to class themselves as silver. And I really want to see next season a lot of those drivers in silver and pro-am potentially move themselves up and class themselves just a little bit more aggressively, and really start to even out those classes a little bit. Because, as I said, a lot of the really alien drivers that we used to have in Octane Online Racing have moved on to different games or have just stopped sim racing altogether. So I think it's time where everyone can just sort of say, you know what, I'll have a crack at the pro class this season and put myself up against the big boys and see how that happens.
Oh, that's it, mate. I definitely agree. There's a lot of opportunities for the guys to really be able to step up between the different levels. You know, I know we in Split Red there last season that came up actually quite a lot as well. Going, I think there's a lot of guys within the classes were then becoming out of class because they were, you know, getting better the more that they're practicing and their time's getting quicker. And it's just like, man, you need to be in the next class up. You need to be in the next class up. And that's been, I reckon, one of the things that's been really good with the Split Red this season is that there has been a lot more of that. Even from last season into this one, it's you start to see all the different groups in the classes start to filter themselves out pretty evenly. But as you said, you know, it's ready for the next time. It's ready for the next little sift of you know, top running guys to really step up. It's and it's great to see. It's great to see so many of the guys being able to do that as well. So I'll stay as a little red number alongside of myself for a little bit longer, mate. So you've got nowhere else to go, mate. White's white.
I tried to get away with being a silver last season, and they didn't let me do that. When I started trying out the Nissan, I thought, it's a brand new car, and the Nissan's not particularly strong. Maybe I'll get away with being a silver. And I think I lasted one race, and they were like, no, we can't have that.
Almost.
Tom's asking about Le Mans Ultimate. We're going to be doing that in the Split blue time slot next season. So we're going to have yellow and green continue on as per normal on the Wednesday night at 7:30 and 9 o'clock. But then on Thursday night, LMU will take the spot of split blue. So it's 7:30. We're going to have the one LMU split, and it'll be broadcast and stuck on at 7:30 on your Thursday night. And that will be followed up by split red as per normal in ACC. So just the 3 ACC splits. So if ACC is your kick in split blue, they have all been asked to disperse and move to another split or take up LMU. LMU should be extremely popular coming on to a Thursday night now next season, fully broadcasted. And that game's got a lot of potential. I hope they can give us some servers that are a little bit better than the EU servers, because at the moment it's a bit tough trying to drive with... Well, it's okay when you're doing LMU dailies because you're racing against Europeans and you're only driving with 300 ping, but when you're Australians against Australians on EU servers, that's 300 ping to EU and then 300 ping back. It's basically driving at 600 ping, and it gets a bit rough. So I do hope that they can sort of give us some servers that are a little bit closer, because if they do, LMU will absolutely go bananas and become a really popular game where they are. But until it does, I just don't see it really taken off of me, individual. I'm not sort of talking about, it's very popular amongst a lot of drivers at the moment. There's a lot of guys wrapping it up in terms of how it feels. So I do hope it gets off, because it does look good and feels good. Just, yeah, as I said, you can't sort of get me past the 300 to the 600 ping serves. It's a bit sort of off-putting for me.
Yeah, that's it. As a game and the gameplay, I haven't unlike yourself, mate. Oh, little touchy there. That could be interesting. Whether or not
that's
something.
The silver class lead too, by the way. Carlos Johnson and Zach Warren coming out of the pit lane at the same time for the silver class lead. They're in P9 and P10 overall. Just getting a little bit dicey.
Oh wow, wasn't it? Oh, okay, cool. Rightio, you boys settle it out. If you want to settle it out on the track, go ahead. Go ahead. What do we got? It's only Ralhay and Murphy left now to take the pits with 18 minutes to go. So obviously last little splash and dash. I wonder if either of these guys would you. Here you go. Here's one for you, Mr. Pro Driver. Ralhay, if you've left this far through, he's come down, and he's... Hello. Oh.
That's very close. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the inputs there from Warren, because I think Warren was, a little bit gentle. I think he could have maybe been a bit more aggressive. I don't know. It looked like he came off throttle and just sort of left the door open there for Carlos, and Carlos still managed to chop his nose off. So it was very close between the two of them. Yeah.
Now, question that I was going to throw at you. Oh, there we go.
No, he certainly didn't. He did as he came out of the pit lane, though. There you see, he jumped right off the throttle and tried to open the door. Oh yeah, it was closer than. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right, mate. I'm glad that we were able to watch that from a couple of different angles and technical points. Is Ralhay going to take tyres? Can he do a splash and dash? If he's 2.5 seconds, 3 seconds behind, will that give him enough to do the leapfrog? What do you reckon?
I think it's 2 mandatories for tyres, is it not?
Oh, it is 2 mandatories.
I think you have to take tyres in both stops. So to answer your question, yes, he will take tyres. But what I am interested to see is, though, Lucas Keys before was stuck in a little bit of track. He had Carlos Johnson in front of him as they came through the first sector, and whilst he didn't hold him up too much, he certainly did compromise him in a few places. And Lucas going very wide there. So just sort of driving the tits off this Aston at the moment. He maybe thinks that he has lost a second or so to Ralahi. So Ralahi's already in the box here. Ralahi's he's gonna get off these jacks pretty shortly. And as Lucas Keys rounds the final corner here, he's gonna have the run. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Ralahi drop off the jacks here very soon. And he's at the front of the pit lane. But I think Lucas has got him covered. He's well and truly gonna get covered here. Yeah. So it's actually, I reckon he's actually extended the lead. I think it was about 3.4 seconds before Lucas Keys came into the pit lane. But Ralahi just sticking it out on those old tyres to see if he could sort of draw any sort of anything really from this race has really not had it work for him. And I think he's a good 7 or 8 seconds behind now. So that'll update shortly. But that's it for 15 minutes now. Ralahi will be on the fresher tyres, but I don't see him making up that gap. As long as nothing happens to Lucas in terms of blue flag shenanigans or lo and behold, he sort of spins it on his own. He'll be our split red champion again this season.
Yep, and done a great job of that. Oh, I still haven't got to the well, mate. I'm looking at Salvaggio. He's down at P17. What do we got? Gobby's up P8. I might do a quick little calculation here, mate.
Wowee, that's a very big gap, isn't it?
It's a very big gap. This one's going to be really close, mate.
Gap.
You
So
might have to
Salvaggio,
just keep chatting for a second. I'll see if I can pull the odd.
Salvaggio dead last in the Pro-Ams and Gobby P1. So he's given himself absolutely every chance, has Tim Gobb tonight, to have pinched this Pro-Am victory. So the abacus is out up here in the commentary box. I'm just watching Gozzy go about his work here. He's quietly punching in the numbers. He's going to come back to us with a solution soon. But that is a massive gap between P8 and P16. There's a lot of points dropped there from Salvaggio, who got that very early drive-through. You will remember within the first 15 minutes, picking himself up a drive-through, which has really dented any chance of a good result here. And therefore, back in P16 overall. Speaking of drive-throughs, our man Sam O'Brien also now grabbing himself one in the Martini Ferrari. So that's going to put him back towards the back of the field a little bit. Currently sitting in P13, but there's no real huge gaps there unless Salvaggio. No, he's in the 2.2, so yeah, that's going to drop him right to the back of the field, basically. And Shady Samuel was the other one who picked up a drive-through, although not for track limits. We saw him speed into the pit lane. Just a little bit too keen to get the job done in the pit lane, speeding in 61. So he got himself a drive-through as well, and he was leading the race at the time, so with the fastest lap. And wasn't quite pole position, but was very close. He was P2 on the grid. It was going to be a very strong night for Shady, but now having to basically settle for P5. So just watching the cars as they round scenes here. You can see the aerodynamics working overtime. Oh, that's nice and wide there from Salvaggio, pushing the limits of what the track allows.
Well,
Shady.
coming back. Sorry, mate. No, you go.
No, go ahead, fire away. You've got the abacus. You've completed the calculations. We're hanging on every. You tell me what's happening.
I'm, because you can't quote me exactly because I haven't got in front of me the exact numbers for the P7 or wherever he is, P8 and the P17. But if my calculations are within a couple of points, which I think they will, it looks like Gobby's going to get around about the 354 points at the end. And it's looking like Salvaggio should be somewhere around the 348 to 350. So it's literally going to be within, I reckon, about 5 points currently the way that it's sitting, but going Gobby's way.
But I tell you what, with Sam O'Brien having got that drive-through, he's going to fall back behind Salvaggio. So there's a free one for Salvaggio. I don't know where O'Brien is or where Salvaggio is. That's Lucas Keys lapping O'Brien now. So O'Brien's come out of the pit lane, and it's either Gormley or Gobby. No, that's Salvaggio there. He's already in the first sector. So I would suggest that means that he has cleared O'Brien. He has.
Yep.
So there's a free one for Salvaggio and a few extra points in the bag. I don't know how many, but Gobby just cursing the drive-through from Sam O'Brien there. That's going to be so close at the end. If your numbers are accurate, that's going to be incredibly close for the Pro-Am Championship.
Oh, mate. I reckon I could probably see if I can try and find an extra few little numbers there to get it closer again, but I reckon that's going to be pretty well it. He might P16, P15 now, going from 17th up to 15th, Salvaggio. That might be just enough to keep him in the run, I reckon. It might be, but it's going to be points. It's definitely only going to be single-digit points, mate, between the two of them at the end of this race. So close.
Boy, oh boy. There might be some team orders coming out. So Gobby is in a team speak with Chris Murphy at the moment. And Gobby might be just saying, hey, I'm only 4 seconds back. Would you do me a huge favour and just let me sneak on through? Because obviously Murphy not really fighting for anything in particular. Currently sitting P7 overall. He's not fighting for any championships. He's not getting near the Pro Class lead. So he might just be having a cheeky word, just saying, "Hey, if you've got a couple of mistakes in you, would you mind?"
Yeah. Now's a great time to just overshoot your braking marker. Oh dear. But Shady Samuel's still holding that fastest lap, and look at him back up into P4 after that early drive through that he had from that first pits. Has done a great job to be able to catch back up, to the back end of these guys. It's an awesome effort for a comeback there. But finding Salvaggio, he's probably thinking too, if I can get from 17 to 15, that was a freebie. Maybe I've got 9 minutes left. This one extra position here could be enough of the clincher to know that you've got this one in the bag, but it's still going to be close. But I reckon if he gets to P14, I reckon that's going to have him enough points there to get over Gobby. But it's still going to be so close. 9 minutes. How many track limits is everyone at?
Octane Online Racing Split Blue champion Joshua Holmes suggesting there's a 7-point difference, but hasn't told us which way. Hasn't said, is that 7 points Gobby's direction? Biggie's saying Salvaggio's currently at 380 after this race. Gobby will finish at 359. So there's a lot of hang on. There's some different, true drop. Okay, all right. So that's including drop round. So everyone's got the abacus out now. Everyone's doing work, but I don't know. Until I see the official figures, I don't know what to think.
Well, I was basing it off the current net points. So depending on which, and that could be the difference. You look at Gobby, if he, depending on which drop round you get, currently sitting, Gobby's drop round is at 42 points. Salvaggio's is 59. So if Salvaggio gets a low enough point score this time, that becomes his lowest, and he gets that 59 points back.
Yeah, that's what Zach's saying at the moment, is this will be Salvaggio's drop round. As he goes down the inside of Tarks here, he actually doesn't want to pick up too many positions, because he's got a drive through! Salvaggio's got a drive through! Oh, no! As we were talking, he's gone and he's basically solidified the Pro-Am Championship by doing that, because as we said, that will now become his drop round. And he's basically just guaranteed himself the Pro-Am victory by getting a drive through.
That's a bit of reverse psychology there, isn't it? Wow.
That is either the 200 IQ strat. Wowee.
Yeah, that's it. Is that the arse or the class? I don't really know, but hats off to him.
Again, I don't know. Until I see the final. That's 2 drive-throughs in the same race by Salvaggio, by the way. Goodness gracious, it really hasn't got the track limits sorted out here at Paul Ricard at all. But as I said, until I see the final scoreboard at the probably the conclusion of tomorrow night, I think Glenn will probably have a nice little sleep tonight and then get up and do that in the morning.
Yep.
But once that website sorts itself out, that's when I'll see who's the Pro-Am victor. Because until then, maths is too hard. I don't do maths on stream. I'm like Sean Mother. It's just too hard. This is Carlos Johnson up behind Zach Warren. The 2 Porsches have been going at it all night long, these two. They have come into contact a few times, even out of the pit lane. And again here, a bit of door banging. Carlos Johnson giving him the fair old squeeze here, which is entitled to do. He held his line. And then Warren trying to open up scenes a little bit. And again, around the outside, look at Carlos getting sideways here and on throttle early. Very nice move around all the way around the outside. Nice work, Carlos. These two have been banging doors all evening. Hopefully, they can shake hands at the end of it, because it's been good stuff to watch here.
That's been great. Great to watch those guys.
So this is Lucas Keys here. We've been talking about him all night and how he's going to be picking up the Pro Championship. And it looks like, as I said, he's probably going to bring that home comfortably. He's now 5.5 seconds clear, and the blue flags are giving way for him, as they should. So just a couple of laps to go now for Lucas, and he will be the Split Red Championship winner, which is no mean feat. Definitely our strongest split red at the top end of the field anyway. The top of the Pro Series is extremely strong. As I said, Shady Samuel has done very nicely to pull that gap back up, and still he's in with a chance of a podium too, by the way. Only 3 seconds behind Ricciuti. So he's certainly not giving up on that podium. And then, yeah, down in the silver class, that is hotly contested. That silver win tonight. That's Warren and Johnson have just been going at it. Warren looks like he's back in front of it too, by the way, according to that Delta. This is a track limit cut from Salvaggio. Oh, it's as close as it gets too. Unlucky.
Oh.
Just trying to maximise the track limits there. He's just snuck inside. Unlucky, Gabriel. Or, you know, as I said, lucky or lucky. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know how many points you get for finishing P14, but if he got enough to make this not his drop round, he might have cost himself the championship, but he's certainly going to fall back through the field now. So apparently that's going to solidify it for him. Very interesting. What a way to win a Pro-Am championship.
Yep, that's it. Two drive-throughs on your last round. Yep, that'll save it for me. So big shout out to Zach in chat there as well. He is my number crunching counterpart. So he's finding all the extra little points and working drop rounds as well in the background there. So big shout out to you, Zach. Thank you, mate, for keeping those numbers going at a definitely greater level than what that I'm doing. So here we go. This battle is just fantastic, as you're saying, JC. Like, this is brilliant. Like, Porsche on Porsche drag race. Who's going? Who's coming? It's on. 5 minutes to go, and it is still game on.
This is where Carlos got it done on the last lap, and he got him done in the last sector. But then Warren looks a bit stronger in the first sector, and again here Carlos is just going to squeeze him to the inside, and again he's going around the outside, but this time doesn't quite get it right, and Warren should be able to complete that. So Carlos is really making him take such a tight line into scenes. He really is blocking him in there, which, again, he's holding his line. He's entitled to do that. He can squeeze him to the inside as much as he likes, as long as, obviously, he doesn't move across and cut off his nose. He's entitled to do that. It's just good racing. But this time, Warren, more aware of it, doesn't open up like he did on the last lap, doesn't make contact, and Carlos just getting a little bit squirrely on the outside of scenes there, goes very wide, so Warren looks like he's managing to hang on to that, but that's been an absolute ding-dong, that battle for silver tonight.
Certainly has, and Lucas Keys has well and truly got this one dominated. Ralhay's still there. He's, as we were saying, obviously the toe was coming into it, but not really coming into it, as he's still pulled away that 5.5 second gap, as we see the as Ralhay goes over here now. Yep, right on that 5.5 second gap, and you know, you call it pretty early on there too in the qualifying, that Ralhay was just that kind of that 0.2, 0.3 off. So, you know, whether it's the BMW balance not quite as good as either the Ford or the Aston here as well, and you know, that's, you know, over 75 minutes. That's definitely showing that that seems to be the case. As Ricard looks like he's pretty well got this one in the bag, but you know, it was only 3 minutes ago that Shady Samuel was 3.5 seconds back. Now down to 1.5.
No way. That's a very close gap now. I think with, what do we got, 150, the leader being on the straight, we're going to have 2 more laps. I reckon Shady's just going to pull up here, and he's not going to be close enough on this lap in particular, but with only sort of 6/10 to make up, especially on the straight here, he'll pick up sort of 4/10, and then if he can get the last sector right on the next lap, I'd be very interested to see how close Shady is when they get to this exact point, because if Shady's anywhere near the back of this Ferrari, he's only got to be sort of 7 or 8/10 behind, and he'll reel in this Ferrari. So I don't think this one's over just yet. That's Salvaggio flag being lapped and giving way to Ricciuti. And Ricciuti would just be hoping to the heavens that for some reason Salvaggio gives Shady just any sort of trouble at all. Of course, you would hope that Shady is able to clear the blue flag efficiently. But look at that gap. It's now down to 1.1, and Shady just reeling him in. Salvaggio diving out of the way early, so he's not going to cause Shady any problems at all. And Shady's really deep under brakes here. He's missed the apex, but you can see he's pushing. He wants it. Oh, there's another blue flag out there. I don't know who that is.
Oh, no.
That's a green Porsche of some description who's just gone a little bit wide. That might be Johnston, yeah. So we'll just give him the benefit of the doubt and say he did that on purpose, seeing the leaders come up and just jumped out of the way. It was nice work.
That's it.
Good blue flag.
Yep. I'll say that too, mate. I'll definitely second that one.
He's just in this. I reckon he's already in the slipstream now. He's very close to his 9/10 the gap now. He's coming, I'm telling you. By the time they get to the straight, if he gets this first sector right, he's going to be very close.
Gets in that toe, you know, as you're saying, you know, it's 1.5 seconds. You're not really going to be getting that toe. Get inside that inside the 1 second, and then he's got the toe. He might just walk away with down the main straight. Oh, look how close he is. He is all over the back of Ricciuti now. That's not even 0.9. That's not even 0.4. He's going to walk this Mustang down this straight.
This is going to be a procession, I think. This is almost inevitable now.
Thank you very much. See you later.
Oh no, that's disappointing. Stefano's done so well tonight. He's driven very consistently and has really not been on the camera at all. That's when you know you've had a bloody good race, is you sort of evolve. Oh, Lunchbag's got to drive through too. Hang on, right on the last lap. Come on, Chris. You've had such a good night. He goes and throws it out with a drive-through. And he Alt F4'd immediately. In true Lunchbag fashion, gets himself a drive-through and Alt F4's immediately. Straight to bed. Oh, Stefano really knocking this podium. Gets into the back of Shady and gives him a little kiss on the butt. But Lucas Keys, ladies and gentlemen, crossing the line on this last lap in Split Red. Your Split Red champion yet again. That's not his first, and it won't be his last, young Lucas. Nice for you. Ralahi bleeping the lights as he comes through. He'll finish P2 and also be P2 in the championship. A very good effort. Stefano is not giving up on this podium. He wants it. And I tell you what, he had a good old crack of it coming through the last corner there, but Shady had the car in all the right places and got the drive he needed to hang on at the end there. So the fastest lap and P3 to Shady Samuel. A very good race tonight from Stefano Ricciuti, finishing just off the podium in P4. And Patrick Johnston is a P5, so a good night of racing here in Split Red. Very exciting all the way through.
Oh, absolutely. Some epic battles, super tight battles up and down the field, which is great to see. Lots going on. Big shout out to all the new guys that have come into the split as well. It's great to see all the new names, new faces, new cars, new liveries, and but huge big shout out to Lucas Keys again, as you said as well, mate. Being able to do that as we are watching Gobby coming over the line there. Well done, P7 there for Gobby, taking out a possible Pro-Am victory there. Obviously, we'll find out about that one tomorrow more once Mr. Calculator Man Glenn Germain gets his hands on that. So great little job. Great season. Short little punchy one, this one, but great to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Celebratory donuts here for Split Red champion Lucas Keys in the No Man's Sky livery. Very nice work. That's it. As you said, short punchy season at the start of 2025, but we're gearing up for a very, very strong couple of months here in Octane Online Racing. So looking forward to the next sprint season. So Lucas Keys, P1 is your victor tonight. Ralahi, P2. And Shady Samuel, what might have been with the fastest lap and a very strong showing at the start, having to settle for P3. Over in the silver class, Warren and Johnson were locked side by side all bloody night. And it is Warren that has come out the victor in the Porsche. Carlos having to settle for P2. Over in Pro-Am, Gobby with a very strong performance inside the top 10 overall. And P1 in Pro-Am. Zavaka and Rochford are 2 and 3. And in the AM class, Gormley with a very strong qualifying. What a night it could have been for him overall. Not sure where he finished overall at the end there, but still managed to hang on to P1 in the AM class from Braid and Asplin. So that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, Split Red, as I said, look out in April because Octane Online Racing's going nuts. We've got another sprint season really close by. Another 2 weeks or so for that. Next weekend, we're off to Red Bull Ring for the Duo Series, 2 by the way. So racing in between the 2 sprint series. If you're looking for it, it will be on the weekend next Saturday. And we're also doing LMU, the final round at Le Mans, an extra long 90-minute race, I think it is, next Friday night. That will be. So LMU Friday night, Duo Cup ACC Saturday night. That's your week next week for your racing fix. And then, as I said, a big season of LMU and ACC on the way in over the next couple of months. But that's it for us tonight, Brad. What a good little call that was from you and me, just quietly.
Oh, I must say, mate, that was a very quick 75 minutes. I reckon that was action-packed. So much going on up and down the field. Great little call-outs. Great videography there by Benny Hignett. Loving the replays, loving the split screens, just keeping us all right on the edge of our seats. Great job, mate. Great job, JC, and really looking forward to next season.
That's it. Thanks, Big Net. Thank you to the stewards and our race directors as well. And thank you to you, chat. Couldn't do it without you. Best on ground. Thanks for the abacus work from you, Zach. All right. See you later. Chat tomorrow.
See ya.